If you've ever been constrained by compute, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks, and welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We're back for another episode here. We survived Hump Day, which was the big day of the week. We got the Fed decision out of the way. Inflation appears to be back, according to the Fed. On top of that, we also had 4 Mag 7 earnings, 2 up, 2 down. It doesn't end just there. We got Apple earnings coming tonight. We have SanDisk earnings coming tonight. There's going to be more action here today. Tomorrow is the first of the month. Maybe we see inflows. Maybe we see some positioning ahead of the weekend. Even though it's Thursday, there's still a lot to go through. Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces. I hope that you all had a wonderful Wednesday evening. We're back for Thursday here, the penultimate day of the week, as they like to say. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Thursday edition for April 30th, the last day of April 2026, begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. Again, I hope that you all had a wonderful Wednesday evening. We're back for another episode here today, and kind of a lot took place yesterday. All those earnings and that Fed meeting, and then more to come here today. So we're going to break all that down for you, get you prepared, do some live trading. No guests today, so we should have plenty of time for ticker time, charts, and all of that stuff. So let's go ahead and get rolling and welcome everybody here. Acorns, good morning, Acorns. You are first here today. Early bird gets the acorn? Question mark. We'll see. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Early like implemented. Folks, I don't often say this. Be more like Cam. The early likes, that helps the algorithm too. Thanks, Cam. Good morning and welcome back. Derek, good morning. Good to see you as always. Welcome back, buddy. Janie, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you as always. Francis, good morning. Welcome back. Yes, that girl. Good morning. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. A little rain here. Not raining in Peter's world because Cat reported earnings. It was up 5% this morning, Peter. Let's clap. That's good. I know that's a long-term hold for you. Congratulations. Keeps on trucking. And just incredible move there on some of those industrial names, Cat specifically. Good morning, Zach. Welcome back. Good morning to the Benzie gang indeed. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Whisk, good morning. Welcome back. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Brian, good morning. Welcome back. Brian says, Meta got smoked. Yeah, Brian, that's true. Meta can't really prove return on invested income yet, right? No return on ROIC yet, or no proof of that. Zuckerberg's kind of just saying, trust me, bro. I mean, we'll see. Zuckerberg his resume is good. His history of products is good. So I don't necessarily want to bet against him. But Meta's down here today, and I am sure we are going to take a look at that. Richard Judge, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Solitary Soldier, good morning. Welcome back. Josh Appleseed. Excuse me. That's Ryan. Get it together here. Josh Appleseed. Good morning. SanDisk. Yep, that's tonight. Let me know. Do you have an outlook on SanDisk? Do you think it's going to go higher? Do you think it's going to print higher? Do you think it's going to beat earnings? Do you think it pulls back? What do you think here? My thought on this is that they probably put up a good number, and judging by the recent performance, I bet it trades higher. That's what I would think sitting here today. Let me know what you think, John Appleseed. I'll get it right. Richard Judge, good morning. Welcome back. Blue Owl had earnings. How's private credit doing? Maybe we should take a look at that. Daniel, good morning. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Thank you, producer, for all that you do. You're incredible. Ed, good morning. It's a good day to be above ground. Who you got that right? Every day is a good day to be above ground. Blessed, and we will take that, no doubt about it. Hockey Player 26 says, good morning, everyone. Been a minute since I've checked in. We're happy to have you back. We did keep the seat warm for you. And Hockey Player, let me know, are you enjoying the Stanley Cup playoffs? Who do you have winning it? Down goes Pittsburgh last night, and maybe Sid's last cup run. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Carlos, good morning. Welcome back. Jim, good morning. Welcome back. Patji, good morning. Welcome back from sunny Wales. Patji's all over the UK right now. We will take it. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Matthew, good morning. Welcome back. Betty, good morning. Welcome back. Joey, good morning. It's good to see you again. Gen Z Pool Guy, good morning. Welcome back. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Linda, good morning. Welcome back. Just passing through. And Edro, good morning. Welcome back. Vader was framed. Good morning and welcome back. Lion Atlas, good morning. Good to have you here. Amura, good morning. Dorcas, good morning. Rooster, good morning. Kenjalia, good morning. All right. Big of Bees, good morning. Big of Bees, I got to ask you right away. Feeling better today? Let's get it. That is great. I was just going to say, I got to ask you, how are you feeling? Great to hear that you're feeling better. Let me ask you, what are you buying here this morning? What looks good here this morning? Either up or down or options, you are absolutely in fuego. Let us know. The Noob, good morning. Welcome back. Robot to Trade, good morning. Welcome back. Sean, good morning. Quick question about golf and markets. Liv is closing down. Saudis wanted to buy the dip. So I don't know what's going on with Liv there. I heard that like the Mexico City a tournament was like in jeopardy, but then all of a sudden they're doing it. I don't know what they're going to do here. Seems like most of those players are going back to the PGA. I don't know if they want to buy the dip. I don't know if it's a good move. I don't know anybody that watches Live. And that's knowing people that actually go to the events and say that they're cool in person. I don't know anybody that watches them, nonetheless. Tara, good morning. Welcome back. Brandy, good morning. Welcome back. And Cad Monkey, good morning. Welcome back. All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started with our stock market today. All right, futures are green across the board, post-Fed and post-Mag 7 earnings, at least some of them. S&P futures up 0.40% this morning. Dow futures up 0.57%. That is likely on the back of that Caterpillar report. And also the NASDAQ futures up 0.47%. So green across the screen here for this Thursday. Does it hold? We shall see. Let's take a look at some cues from last session here. Let's go ahead and get this up here. Consumer staples, real estate, and energy shares led the S&P 500's majority gainers on Tuesday, while information technology and materials sectors finished in the red. Following the Federal Reserve's decision to keep the interest rate steady at 3.5 to 3.75%, Jerome Powell said during his speech he plans to remain on the board of governors despite his term ending on May 15th. I told you about that the other day. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump is reportedly scheduled to review potential military strategies from CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper for Iran on Thursday, signaling a possible return to significant combat operations as per Axios. The U.S. is reportedly considering a, quote, short and powerful, end quote, strike campaign on Iran targeting infrastructure to break the stalemate in negotiations and push Tehran back to the nuclear bargaining table. The 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.41%, almost at that 4.5% level, and the 2-year bond was at 3.91%. The CME Group's FedWatch tool projections now show the market's pricing in a 98.8% likelihood of the Federal Reserve leaving the current interest rates unchanged during the June meeting. So also in there, don't forget, we do not have a meeting in May. The next one is June. But so far, CME FedWatch tool saying, we're going to leave them steady again in June. Now, I've got several stocks in focus here for you today, and today is going to be one of the most obvious days with the stocks. The first one here is definitely going to be Amazon's ticker AMZN. That was up 1.63% after reporting upbeat financial results for the first quarter after the market closed on Wednesday. It said that it expects second quarter revenue to be between 194 and 199 billion. That was versus estimates of 188.87 billion. Amazon did report Q1 EPS of $2.78, which beat the $1.66 estimate, and sales of $181.519 billion, beat the estimate of $177.30 billion. The next stock on our list is going to be Alphabet. This would be GOOGL or GOOG, depending on which class of shares you like to trade and look at. It jumped 5.96% after reporting better than expected first quarter financial results and raising its quarterly dividend. Alphabet had a Q1 EPS of $5.11, which beat the $2.62 estimate. Big beat there. Sales of $109.896 billion beat the estimate of $106.9 billion. The next stock on our list is going to be Microsoft, and the ticker on this one is MSFT. It was 1.85% lower despite beating earnings. However, it sharply raised its capital spending outlook to nearly $190 billion for 2026. Microsoft did put up Q3 adjusted EPS of $4.27, which beat the $4.06 estimate, and sales of $82.88 billion beat the estimate of $81.39 billion. The next stock on our list is Meta, and if you haven't detected yet, it is these Mag 7 earnings players. Ticker META, Meta was down 2.04% despite a double beat as it anticipates full-year capital expenditures of $125 to $145 billion. That was up from the prior guide of $115 to $135 billion. Meta had Q1 adjusted EPS of $7.31, which beat the $6.78 estimate, and the sales came in at $56.311 billion, which beat the estimate of $55.449 billion. Meta also sees Q2 sales of $58 to $61 billion, and that was versus an estimate of $59.495 billion. Now, the last stock on our list today is Apple. We affectionately call it Big Mama, and the ticker is AAPL. It was 0.37% higher as analysts expected to report earnings of $195 per share on revenue of $109.66 billion. And of course, that comes after the closing bell today, along with SanDisk. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart and see where we sit. Same deal. Nothing yet has changed. Although today, perhaps, if we get any carry through, we might have a new all-time high. We continue to trade sideways here. S&P 500 or SPY here in the pre-market, 714.58. And we're right at the top end of this sideways range. We are right underneath the all-time high, that's 715.63. So we are literally $1 away from setting a new all-time high. We'll see if we do that in the New York session here today when the market opens. So I'd definitely be watching that level for a possible pop to new all-time highs and a move higher. Ultimately, what I want to determine or what I want to see is, do we actually have more inflows at new all-time highs tomorrow when the calendar rolls over to May? We should expect that on the 1st of May, and perhaps we'll see a little bit more carry through with that. Now, it's worth noting that a lot of that is going to depend on Apple and SanDisk's earnings here tonight. If they both just don't put up a good number here, I could see the market coming in, even if it does set another new all-time high here today. Downside levels, it's still going to be this breakout trend line. The value here for today is just about 705. So we'll talk or we'll look for 705 on that round number there. We'll see if it sets any other number. And then don't forget, the longer we trade sideways, the longer we don't actually break down, the quicker the 20-day moving average comes up to support us in the event that we do turn around. 20-day indicator or 20-day moving average has been a really good indicator of trend. All right, let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. And then we'll roll through some of the news from some of those earnings. BlackRock anticipates that the U.S. economy will face persistent inflation, noting that, quote, inflation pressures predate the Middle East supply shock, end quote. Structural issues like an aging population, an artificial intelligence-driven capital expenditure boom, and immigration curbs mean that, quote, higher yields are here to stay, end quote. Despite these macroeconomic headwinds, however, BlackRock remains optimistic about the U.S. stock market, maintaining an overweight position in U.S. equities. They strongly prefer stocks over bonds because long-term government bonds are, quote, no longer effective diversifiers against equity declines, end quote. A major driver for this equity optimism is the rapid build-out of artificial intelligence infrastructure. BlackRock observes that previous market skepticism over AI's payoff is dissipating as major tech firms prove they can successfully monetize their new tools. Can they do it enough, though? Ultimately, they see the AI boom actively lifting U.S. corporate earnings, making equities an attractive play even in the higher rate environment. So inflation is back here a little bit, but not terribly worried. Not terribly worried. At least BlackRock isn't. Let me know what you folks think about that. Good morning to anyone that is joining later here. Hope that you all had a wonderful Wednesday. Looking at the economic data today, we are expecting the initial jobless claims for the week ending April 25th, the first quarter employment cost index, the GDP data, along with headline and core PCE index data. That's going to be out today at 8:30. That comes in 16 minutes from now. April's Chicago Business Barometer PMI will be released at 9:45, and February's U.S. leading economic indicators will be out by 10. Okay, let's dive into the reports. And we're going to start here with the Google report. To me, I think this is the best one. At least Sundar Pichai, very, very bullish things to say on this call here. Basically said that their cloud revenue would have been higher if they had more compute. So they're not even at the top of what they think they can do. And I think this is what we were just talking about in the BlackRock note there about them still being bullish on the AI expansion and all that. That's definitely the case. But I think we are starting to see a little bit of a shift here. And if you look at Meta's earnings just opposed to Alphabet's earnings here, you're seeing that, yeah, Alphabet's doing a really good job, but maybe Meta's not doing it yet. And as a result, they're not getting the pop on some of these earnings, or some of the increased CapEx spending is actually weighing on the shares. So it looks like we have a little bit of a divergence here with some of these Mag 7 names, but we're going to cover all of them here. On Wednesday, Alphabet CEO Sundar Pichai said Google's ownership of nearly every layer of the artificial intelligence ecosystem gives it a distinct advantage over its rivals. I would say that is probably the case, yeah. During the first quarter earnings call, Pichai spoke about the tech giant's control across the AI ecosystem, which includes custom chips, Gemini models, cloud infrastructure, developer tools, and security. Quote, "We are genuinely differentiated," end quote. And that came from Sundar Pichai during the company's first quarter earnings call, where he described Google's vertically optimized AI stack as a key factor in helping it stay ahead in a rapidly intensifying AI race. Pichai added that Google's control over both silicon and software allows it to scale AI efficiently while protecting margins and maintaining security. Despite strong momentum, Pichai acknowledged that Google is currently struggling to keep pace with the soaring AI demand. Quote, "We are compute constrained in the near term," end quote. And he said that, noting that Google Cloud revenue could have been even higher if sufficient infrastructure had been available. So doesn't look like this is ready to curtail just yet. And on that, the company reported an 800% year-over-year increase in enterprise AI solutions, fueled by rising demand for Gemini-powered services, cloud infrastructure, and TPU hardware. During the call, Pichai said Alphabet prioritizes compute resources first towards internal research and development, particularly training frontier AI models such as Gemini, before allocating additional capacity across products like Search, YouTube, and enterprise cloud offerings. He said that long-term infrastructure investments are being guided by, quote, tangible demand signals, end quote, and a disciplined return on investment framework. So again, if we look here, Alphabet just absolutely crushing those earnings there. $5.11 per share versus the estimate of $2.62. It beat that by more than 95%, folks. 95%. Lion here saying, "Ryan, I've been saying buy Google for a while. Google is a powerhouse." Indeed, you did. And I actually have another buddy who's deep in Wall Street, and he actually told me buy Google. I think it was 130s. And I did, but I sold it. Sold it too early, Lion. So this is definitely one, I think, especially after the pop now. Add-on dips, I think you're probably still in that camp. I think the only thing I'd like to hear, well, not the only thing, I think one additional thing that I would like to hear from the group are what levels do you like to add Google if it does, in fact, come back in? Would be curious on that one. Okay. Next here, let's talk about Amazon. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy explains how soaring chip prices and supply crunch could pressure Amazon's CapEx, although he did say that they've done a good job. So Amazon, let's take a quick look here. Amazon, interestingly enough, initially traded down, then went green, and it's actually held that here through the pre-market. I am kind of curious to see if it breaks the after hours pre-market high and goes higher here today. That would be my guess if I had to pick something right now. We'll see what Izzy says when he rolls out of bed here. Amazon, ticker AMZN, CEO Andy Jassy on Wednesday said that the company noted the imbalance between supply and demand early and moved to secure supply through long-term partnerships. During Amazon's first quarter earnings call, Shweta Kajuria of Wolfe Research asked Jassy to elaborate on how the tech giant views the surge in memory and storage prices, as well as broader supply chain inflation. She also asked what impacts these trends could have on the company's capital expenditures this year and potentially next year. In response, Jassy said that the cost of key components, particularly memory, which we've been watching here for a while, has skyrocketed due to limited supply and strong demand across the tech industry. By the way, that demand does not seem to be curtailing it all. Quote, "We saw this trend happening early in the middle to latter part of last year, and we have worked with our strategic suppliers to get a significant amount of supply," end quote. He said, adding that the company has secured enough capacity to avoid major disruptions. While Amazon is not currently facing immediate shortages, Jassy acknowledged that rising component prices could influence capital expenditures going forward. He said the company is, quote, "doing our best to have the supply we need and keep the costs in the right spot," end quote. But he highlighted that conditions remain fluid. And we've seen that over the last several weeks as well, or months really. He also highlighted internal execution, saying, quote, "I think the team has been very scrappy. I think we've done a good job in making sure that we are not capacity constrained there," end quote. So Amazon here, another beat there, another move higher. I really like Amazon. I use this a lot. I use a lot of their different services a lot. I think they're going to be fine on their CapEx spending. They have a history of making good on their CapEx spending. I think I'm probably less worried about this than many of the other stocks, namely Meta. Now, speaking of Meta, let's talk about that. Meta's massive AI spend shows no signs of slowing down. The CFO, Susan Lee, warns, quote, "We've continued to underestimate our compute needs." Means they're just going to throw more money at it. Max is asking, is it time to sell Google or hold? We don't give advice here. If you need advice, I would advise that you consult a financial advisor and or fiduciary. However, a lot of the folks in our group trade Google here, and let Max know what you think you're doing with your Google. Max, I already said I sold mine too early. And given the cost basis, if I still had that, I would definitely be holding here. I think that we're just very, very early in the AI story. And I think Google is going to be a major, major player in that. That's just my 2 cents. Okay. Meta. Let's talk about this. Meta Platforms, obviously ticker META. It's ramping up its artificial intelligence plans as executives signal that the company's demand for computing power continues to exceed internal expectations. No surprise there. On Wednesday, during the company's first quarter earnings call, CEO Mark Zuckerberg said the company is increasing its infrastructure capital expenditure forecast for the year, citing higher component costs, particularly in memory pricing. Now, we all know about that. We've heard about that from all the other companies. That should be no surprise to anybody. He added that ongoing internal and industry signals continue to support the company's aggressive investment in its AI infrastructure. CFO Susan Lee reinforced that outlook, raising Meta's 2026 capital expenditure forecast, including finance lease payments, to a range of $125 to $145 billion. And that was up from the prior outlook of $120 to $135 billion. She attributed the increase to higher component prices and additional data center investments aimed at supporting future capacity needs. Responding to analyst questions about long-term spending trends, Lee acknowledged uncertainty around a future capital intensity, but emphasized a consistent pattern of rising demand. Quote, "We've continued to underestimate our compute needs even as we have been ramping capacity significantly, end quote. Pointing to faster than expected advances in AI development and expanding internal use cases. She added that compute is becoming increasingly central to Meta's business, influencing model quality, product development, and overall organizational productivity. While Meta declined to provide a specific 2027 capital expenditure outlook, Lee said the company is maintaining flexibility in its infrastructure planning. She noted that Meta could adjust spending timelines if capacity exceeds near-term demand, but noted that current investments are designed to support long-term AI growth. Meta reported first quarter revenue of $56.31 billion. That's surpassing Wall Street expectations of $55.45 billion. The company also posted adjusted earnings of $7.31 per share. And again, that was ahead of the $6.78 per share forecast. For the second quarter, Meta projects revenue between $58 billion and $61 billion. And that is, of course, compared with the analyst estimates of $59.5 billion. Meta platform shares ended the regular session at 669.12. That was down 0.3, but it slid further in the after hours, trading down to 622, which was a decline of 7% according to Benzinga Pro. A quick peek at Meta here in the pre-market here, 610. So it looks like we're going to test 600 here today. Noting the decrease in after hours, Deepwater Asset Management's managing partner, Gene Munster, called the reaction a deja vu moment, similar to what occurred after its September 2025 earnings report. Munster said Meta's CapEx is projected to grow 94% this year, compared with the Wall Street expectations of 76%. That's likely weighing on the shares. He added that he is, quote, continually surprised, end quote, by investor negativity around the spending outlook, arguing that prior data shows these investments are delivering results. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, we don't necessarily have proof yet of Meta's return on invested capital or ROIC, but the history that Meta has gives us some confidence that this is actually going to be okay. And I think that's what Gene is highlighting here. Last year, Tiffany Wade of Columbia Threadneedle Investments said Meta appears to be ramping up spending again without providing clear evidence that the investment will generate returns. And that was from a TipRanks report. So it looks to be a little bit of a difference on this. She also noted a key concern that Meta lacks a major enterprise cloud business that could directly benefit from rising AI demand. Separately, Stefan Slowinski of BNP Paribas said Meta continues to depend heavily on advertising and has struggled to successfully diversify into new revenue streams. And I know that's always one of the big worries about Meta is how's its advertising business going to do? As the internet changes, as privacy rules change, as all of this stuff changes, how's that advertising benefit going to get hit? And can they diversify to something else? So let me know what you think there on Meta. I didn't see anything come across here on Meta. I don't know if you folks trade this one as regularly as some of the other ones that we do. But let me know what you think here on Meta. We can take a look at the chart when we actually get to ticker time here. Next story, though, we are going to talk about Microsoft, which is also reported earnings. And we already covered... So we did Meta, Amazon, and Google. And so now we have Microsoft. Yep, sorry about that. Look, when all of these Mag 7s report, you just got to make sure that you're staying on top of that here. Microsoft CEO says supply chain limits can be managed as Microsoft lifts its CapEx outlook to nearly $190 billion. Says, quote, we're doing our best, your best. Losers always whine about their bet. Okay, anyway. On Wednesday, Microsoft, ticker MSFT, said it is confident it can navigate hardware and supply chain constraints as it sharply raises its capital spending outlook to nearly $190 billion for 2026. During the company's third quarter earnings call, Microsoft CFO Amy Hood said, quote, we are doing our best to get things in as quickly as we can, end quote, as demand for cloud and AI compute continues to outpace available capacity. She pointed to strong usage trends across Azure and Microsoft's Copilot suite, which now spans coding, productivity, and security applications. We've talked about Copilot really not being adapted. If that changes, perhaps that could be a big boon here for Microsoft. Hood said the company remains, quote, quite good, end quote, at managing physical limitations in the supply chain, including access to CPUs, GPUs, and storage systems required for expanding data centers. She added that many constraints are short-term and tied to scaling infrastructure quickly rather than structural shortages. Microsoft expects capital expenditures to exceed $40 billion in the fourth quarter alone, with total spending projected to approach $190 billion in the calendar year 2026. The figure includes an estimated $25 billion impact from higher component prices, particularly for those advanced AI chips. We kind of know about that. Hood noted that the spending reflects both rising demand and the company's efforts to expand capacity across its cloud infrastructure. Microsoft also highlighted accelerating adoption of its Copilot AI tools. Okay, at least that's starting to accelerate now. When does it reach critical mass is my question. Those Copilot AI tools are being integrated across enterprise software and cloud services. Hood said usage trends in the third quarter were, quote, on a different trajectory, end quote, compared to earlier periods, signaling faster than expected AI adoption. Okay, this is definitely something to monitor going forward here. The company said it is working to bring new data center capacity online as quickly as possible to support continued growth in AI-driven workloads. So perhaps the bottom is in Microsoft. We talked about this thing really pulling back 30+% from the all-time highs. Perhaps now we're in a spot where Microsoft may be on the way back up. Several of you, I think, had long-term leaps on this, right? I think 500 calls for maybe next year or December or September. So at some of you folks are long Microsoft. I'd be curious to hear about that. All right, we're 29 ahead of the hour. We're doing good here. Just two more stories, then we'll do tweets, and then we will just run down charts. AstroKev says there's a lot of talk about Everspin. That's MRAM. That's going to be on the movers list for sure. We will absolutely take a look at that here today. No worries at all. Now, I know we've spent a lot of time talking about the robotaxi, whether you're a Waymo fan or a Tesla robotaxi fan. The autonomous ride-hailing services theme is here to stay, and it is definitely expanding. And some speculation now that Big Blue, or Ford, I guess Big Blue's IBM, I can't say that, but Ford might be joining the robotaxi race. Apparently, Jim Farley, Ford CEO, had a cryptic response that hinted at that from the earnings call. Ford not nearly as popular as some of these other Mag 7 stocks, so I wouldn't be surprised if this kind of flew under the radar. Brian saying that the PCE is out. Let's take a quick check on that before we dive into the story here. I'll just run through all of these. Initial jobless claims 189. That was versus the 213 estimate. GDP quarter over quarter for Q1 was 2 versus the 2.2%. Market actually did come in just a tad, not a whole lot here. USA unemployment cost index quarter over quarter 0.9 versus the 0.8 estimate. Core PCE price index month over month for March was in line 0.3 versus the 0.3 estimate. Continuing jobless claims 1785 versus the 1820 estimate. GDP price index quarter over quarter for Q1, 3.6 versus 3.8 expected. That number was a little light. Personal spending month over month for March in line. That's what we've actually heard from the companies in their earnings report. That's also why we're hearing some of these analysts say that they're cautiously optimistic. Personal spending hasn't dried up yet. Core PCE price index year over year for March, 3.2 versus the 3.2 estimate. That too was in line. Initial jobless claims revises the prior read from 214 to 215, so very little revision there. That's good to see. PCE price index month over month for March, that was in line and higher than the previous read. What else do we have here? Core PCE prices for Q1, 4.3 versus the 4.1%, so that's actually a little bit higher. Personal spending month over month revises the prior from 0.5 to 0.6. So again, just kind of on that personal spending line, it's not drying up yet. In fact, we actually had to revise that a tenth higher. And the PCE price index year over year for March was 3.5 versus the 3.5 estimate. So in line. I got to be honest with you, relatively benign there. I know the PCE came in a little bit higher there, but relatively in line, and the market looks like it's taking it in stride here. S&P futures still up 0.47% despite the little pullback from the morning highs here. So we'll see how that impacts the rest of the session here, but the early indications are it's not going to be all that big of a deal. Let's check out the Ford story here. Markets didn't like it too much, but did really though? I mean, it was what, up 0.53%, and now it's up 0.46%. It did pull back on it. There's no question about that. A little bit, but not a whole lot. And as far as the SPY goes, we're still above the VWAP here. VWAP 713.5 in the pre-market. Okay, Ford. Could Ford Motor Company, obviously the ticker on Ford is F, could Ford Motor Company be mulling an entry into the robo-taxi race? CEO Jim Farley, during the automaker's first quarter 2026 earnings call, hinted at that very possibility. During Ford's earnings call, Farley was asked about whether the automaker had any plans for robo-taxis with companies like Uber, ticker UBER, and NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, investing heavily in the sector. Farley shared that robo-taxis are something that Ford has been, quote, watching carefully as it evolves, end quote. He then outlined Ford's Argo AI efforts in the past. Argo is now a defunct autonomous driving technology enterprise that was backed by the Detroit-based automaker. Quote, we kind of knew from Argo what to look for as robotaxis, end quote. And the self-driving systems became more proficient, said Farley. However, the CEO then shared that Ford was focused on lowering the cost of ownership, as well as developing efficient EVs in North America. But he also outlined that Ford's Pro business has strengthened the automaker's fleet management skills. The capabilities, quote, can be applied to all sorts of different fleets. And I think that's all we're prepared to say at this point, end quote. Again, that was from the CEO Farley. So it is rather cryptic, not really closing the door on it, but not really confirming anything for the future. And I think especially with Ford, like I don't think Tesla or Google or Uber could get away with anything like this. But with Ford, I actually think this is the right move. Don't commit to something until you know you can do it. You're a low-cost leader here. He just said that he's trying to lower the cost of automobiles. Don't do it unless you see a for sure revenue, at least as far as the stock goes. The stock's, been hard to own from time to time, but I do think this is the right move. Maybe there will be a demand. Maybe the robotaxi or autonomous driving will be so high in demand that Ford will need to step in order to fill that gap. We'll see. Farley has touted the automaker's universal EV platform as the crucial element in its plans for the future, as well as the key to help offset Chinese influence on the global auto market. However, Ford has had to incur billions of dollars in charges related to EVs. And despite this, the automaker is developing EVs as it recently rejigged its Model E division, which would now be integrated into the product creation and industrialization department led by Ford's chief operating officer, Kumar Galhotra. Ford's EV chief, Doug Field, also departed his role following the announcement. It's worth noting that the division would also focus on self-driving goals via a rapid build-out of Blue Cruise and the Ford digital experience. The automaker had said, as well as outlining the rejig would provide a path towards future Level 3 autonomous driving. Ford, of course, reported strong earnings with an EPS of 66 cents per share, which beat the market consensus of 19 cents per share. Nice size beat there. Ford's quarterly revenue was $39.82 billion. That is exceeding the analyst consensus estimate of $38.91 billion. However, the company's Model E department reported its first quarter EBIT loss of $777 million. The robotaxi sector in the U.S. involves multiple stakeholders like Alphabet's Waymo, which recently reached the 500,000 autonomous rides per week milestone and operates in multiple cities across the U.S., as well as Elon Musk's led Tesla and its robotaxi, which only operates in 4 cities. 5, I think, Dallas and Houston. Well, the EV maker's rollout of its robotaxi service isn't as widespread as Waymo's. Tesla Cybercab, which recently entered production at the Gigafactory in Texas, could help boost its robotaxi exploits, and we assume it will. However, questions remain about the company's full self-driving technology and its capabilities, which Musk admitted needed improvement during the company's first quarter 2026 earnings call. So we'll see if Ford gets involved. We'll see if the marketplace for is crowded or not. Certainly doesn't feel crowded. I'm curious to see who's going to be the winner. I have a tough time changing. I know Waymo's early numbers here are much higher, but I just have a very, very tough time betting against Elon Musk. It just hasn't worked. I don't have a track record of success doing that, so it's hard for me to do that again here. Okay, last news story, then we'll do street tweets, and then it's ticker time, baby. Chris is asking, which brand of cars does Waymo use? I know it uses Jaguars. Now, Chris, I don't know if it uses other cars than that. I would actually have to look that up, but I know it uses Jaguars because I've actually seen those at Phoenix's Sky Harbor Airport when I've gone there. I haven't taken one, but I've seen them, and they look nice. They definitely look nice. Okay, last story here. Anthropic eyes a $900 billion valuation, and it could overtake OpenAI as the top AI startup. I'll tell you what, these valuations continue to climb here. And the earnings reports we're getting showing the demand for AI and the CapEx spending, that's not changing either. So we can continue to expect this. We really just need these IPOs to come out. And, I'm wondering how many of you folks think that these IPOs might mark the top of the market. I think that's also a possibility. We can get into that at another time. Anthropic is in discussion with investors about new financing that could value the company at $900 billion, more than doubling its $380 billion valuation in February. That was according to a report. If the talks turn into a deal, the maker of Claude could surpass rival OpenAI to become the most valuable AI startup. That is according to a LiveMint report. Anthropic is evaluating investor proposals, though no proposal has formally been accepted. As Anthropic continues to gain momentum, it is intensifying competitive pressure on OpenAI, which is reportedly preparing for a public listing later this year and was valued at $852 billion in a March funding round, per the report citing Bloomberg. The ChatGPT maker was unable to meet its set targets for revenue and new users recently. OpenAI missed its targets for 1 billion weekly ChatGPT users and annual revenue, largely due to strong competition from Alphabet's Google Gemini, not to mention Claude and perhaps Perplexity. Google has committed $10 billion to Anthropic and could invest a further $30 billion if certain targets get met. Amazon, ticker AMZN, has also invested $5 billion in Anthropic with a potential additional $20 billion tied to commercial milestones, reflecting increased demand for robust AI solutions as the competitive landscape intensifies in the tech industry. The investment adds to the $8 billion Amazon previously invested in Anthropic back in 2024. Founded in 2021 by former OpenAI employees, Anthropic has quickly established itself as a key player in artificial intelligence, building tools that are reshaping how businesses approach areas like coding and cybersecurity. And indeed, Claude is my favorite app and the one that gives me the best results for coding, even though I don't pay for it. Earlier this month, the artificial intelligence startup unveiled a new model, Mythos, designed to detect and exploit vulnerabilities in critical software systems. It also introduced its latest AI model, Claude Opus 4.7, which aims to implement new cyber capabilities while acknowledging that they are, quote, not as advanced, end quote, as those of its Mythos preview model. The company is targeting approximately 40 organizations for initial testing, with the goal of refining its cybersecurity tools through real-world applications and feedback. So, again, I think one of the other takeaways from all of this, including this story, is that indeed we have confirmation that we are definitely in the early innings of this. And there could very well be many advancements in AI that, for lack of a better term, go viral and really start increasing some of the return on this investment. And I just want to stress, I know we've spoken a lot here about especially this morning, about these increased CapEx and whether or not they're getting a return on it, which companies they're being rewarded, companies that aren't getting rewarded. It's important to remember how fast this can change. If, like, let's say, for example, Anthropic's mythos and the cybersecurity, let's say its impact is gigantic. That's going to boost this company. It's going to have a tremendous effect on this. And it might be weeks or maybe even a month later that another one, like OpenAI, for example, comes out with something for the medical industry that every hospital and doctor needs and uses. That would be a recurring revenue contract. This can all change quickly. So I know we react to each of these earnings reports and we look for trades on all of this. We are early in AI. I don't think we know exactly what's coming. And there could be a lot of very beneficial or very nice surprises down the road. We'll see. All right. Let's go ahead and do street tweets. I got one here for you today, and then we will go ahead and start looking at tickers here for today. So let's do street tweets right now. So I started off the show by saying inflation is back per the Fed. We also heard BlackRock say that that's going to be here for a little bit. Here's our confirmation. The Fed characterized inflation as elevated during the notes yesterday or during the meeting, and this was a shift from somewhat elevated in its prior statement. Citing global energy prices, and said it remains attentive to risks on both sides of its dual mandate, with the committee pledging to carefully weigh incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks when considering the extent and timing of any further adjustments. So there was also, I guess, the biggest dissent amongst Fed members since 1992. So that's about 30 years, a little bit more than 30 years. So we'll see what's going to happen here. I know they had Jeffrey Gundlach on CNBC, the Bond King, yesterday, said, I think we're actually closer to a hike than we are to a cut. We'll see which ones we get. So far, market seems to be taking it in stride. But Fed here telling you, and now I will credit some of you because some of you did say, yeah, inflation is coming. It's coming. It's coming. We didn't see it for the longest time. Now the Fed is telling you that it is back. They're not terribly worried yet, but it's back. But remember, Powell's nickname too late. Was he too late on saying that inflation was elevated? You folks will have to tell me. All right, let's get back to Pro here. Let's see what you guys got. Let me actually catch up here on the chat. I know I had a lot of news here, so I must have missed some of that. You guys look like you're talking about the EV thing there versus EV. Ford should just focus on real gas cars and trucks, have one electric, one hybrid, and build good quality real vehicles, not electric everything. I'm in agreement with you there. And I think, have one electric car, one electric truck to serve that market, but really kind of focus on isn't the Ford F-150 still the best selling truck in the country or in the world? You should focus on your core competencies, right? All is rising. Focus on what you do best, as opposed to dipping your toe into everything else. I saw someone also ask what our thought on Intel was. Intel has been an absolute monster. So unlike the question that we got on Google earlier, I would say if this is a position that you're holding, this is definitely an area to trim. I think that you might run into some resistance around that round 100 number. This has been on a huge run. I don't necessarily think it's going anywhere. I mean, again, what we've been talking about recently is like the story is chips. It's not even like, do you have the best chips? It's, can you make chips? If you can, you're going to be all right. But it's just been such a huge move. I mean, it's just been such a huge move. I mean, look, like going back to August of last year, the end of August of last year, the stock was $24. It is 100 or near 100 now. Chris saying, do what you do best and don't venture. Ryan sounding like Tim Cook. Boy, Chris, tough crowd here. Chris is slapping me around a little bit here today. Good morning, Chris. It's good to see you. I just think with Ford, they should just keep doing what they're good at. Tech companies, I think it's a little bit different. Okay, but Intel, I mean, I like what's going on here. I'm not entirely sure that the whole thing is done, but moving so far so fast seems like a trim zone. Absolutely seems like a trim zone. Lion says Intel is still a crappy company. Okay. Friends of mine have the Raptor and say it's great. I hear a lot of people that say that. Thoughts on the Reddit fiasco? What Reddit fiasco? Who cares about Reddit? Anyway, let me know what the Reddit fiasco is and if it's worth our time or not. Reddit actually looks like it's what, $1 higher here in the pre-market. Looks like really no big deal. Okay, did I miss anything else here that you guys wanted to go through? I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay. All right, let's take a look at some charts. What is it that you folks want to look at? I guess we can start with Reddit. Let me see what's going on here. Here's your Reddit chart. So Reddit's actually still in the sideways area. We also have kind of like this broadening formation, although I don't feel great about that. I think the death cross is played out. I think this death cross that we got here back in March, I think it's just kind of played out here. See if we move lower a little bit here on Reddit. It's doing its best to hold on to its 50-day, and it has earnings here today. So I don't know what to expect here from these earnings, but it does have earnings here today. Still have no idea what fiasco you're referencing. So maybe give some context here on that. I don't like this company. I don't like Reddit, the actual website itself. I think it's absolute garbage, to be quite honest with you. But the stock has been a pretty good performer from its IPO. Yeah, anyone that's up on Reddit or likes this or dislikes this or has a trade on it, let me know. We can always kind of come back to that. Okay, what else do we want to take a look at here today? Acorns. Ryan, I was saying, does Google or Cat have a habit of beat then retreat? Okay, let's take a look here at Cat. First of all, Cat's done very little retreating recently. It's done very little retreating. I know we had this little bit of a pullback from like 785 down to like 670. This was when? Earlier in March this year. I don't really know. Let's take a look at the earnings itself. So we'll click on the calendar and then the earnings tab here. And let's see. So we had today. Last time was January 29th, October 29th, and August 5th. So let's take a look here. January 29th. That is going to be right in here. Boy, after its last earnings report, it moved higher, pulled back to the 20, which was still higher. And went higher yet again. So last one, it was pretty good. October was the year prior, and then August was the one prior. So October 29th, boy, it popped, held, and then went higher. And then August 29th, right? Or August 8th. What was that? Come on, goldfish brain. You got to remember this. What was that date? August 5th. Excuse me. Let's go back to August 5th here. And let's take a look. Oops, didn't mean to click on that. Okay, August 5th. So this did report here August 5th. This did retreat a little bit, but not very much. Looks like it was about 421, came into about 408. So it lost about 18 points or so, and then went on a humongous run. So I would say I would not be thrown off by the beat and retreat statement there. To me, Cat is just absolutely crushing it. And I think, actually, wasn't this up 5? Yeah, so this was up 5% when we first got on here. And it looks like it's trying to take out the pre-market highs here. Cat is really, really strong. And I'll tell you what, the reshoring here, the infrastructure build out, but especially the data center stuff, I mean, this looks really good here. I wouldn't necessarily worry about a beat and retreat at this point. Now, Google, on the other hand, I think Google is add-on dips, right? This is add-on weakness. This is a major AI player. I really don't see them kind of turning around. YouTube is absolutely incredible. I mean, I just think I probably watch more YouTube than I do regular television. So I love Google. I think of all of the Mag 7s, this one's probably my favorite. I mean, honorable mention to Apple just because it's been such a huge investment for me and my family over so many years. But I think I really, really like Google. This to me is just add-on dips, add-on support levels when this thing comes in. So I wouldn't worry about a beat and retreat on this one, or if it did retreat, I would look at that as a good thing. Yes, producer, we covered the entire PCE data drop. And by the way, so speaking of that, thanks for the reminder there, producer, but we talked about the market maybe not liking it, maybe coming in a little bit. Here's when we got it, came in a little bit, and then traded back up just a little bit more. So again, I think this is, I think it's a fairly muted reaction. Lance Black says, what is regular television? Lol. I guess I mean cable, Lance, but that's really good. That's really good. Okay, Lily, QCOM and Lily, let's do that. All right, here's QCOM. This is up 10.5% here. This had really good earnings. Ooh, and this actually looks good on the chart. So here's what the earnings print looks like. Impulse move actually took a second leg higher, and we are holding higher here about 172.5 in the pre-market today. So 172.5, that puts us right about here. This is actually the lower end of kind of a consolidation range. I would say 184 is the top of that. Yeah, 184 is the top of that. So I think this is probably going to be its next resistance area. We're approaching a possible resistance area, but look at this. We basically came up off the bottom. We also came off of a support trend line that originated back in 2023. We recaptured the 50. We have the 20 crossing through the 50, looking very, very good. And today, with this move, we gap above the 200 and the 500. So first things first here, got to hold this if we want this for more. Lion, I know that you were saying buy this ahead of the earnings report. What's your thought on that? Are you holding it for more gains? Do you think it goes higher? Do you think maybe we test 200 in the somewhat near future, maybe at some point here in 2026? Let me know what you think on where this is going here. This was a really good report. This looks strong again here. Same deal. And then the other one was Lilly. Now, they had earnings this morning, right? Eli Lilly shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q1 financial results and raised its fiscal year 2026 guidance. That conference call coming at 10 here, so it's an hour from now. But Lilly beating here, trading up 6%, and that's pretty good because guess what? We are testing the 200 here today. We actually had Lilly has been another monster performer. I did see the the CEO was on CNBC earlier. He was saying that there is really good results already from the weight loss pill that they released last week. So that's going in favor of them. I know we recently lost this 971 and 973.5 level. We actually back tested it and rolled back over, lost the 200 after finding support at that twice. But looks like we found some support here at the 500, and today you're going to get a 200 test there. So 906.5 definitely going to be a key level here on Lilly today. So no doubt. I think especially with the way things are going with the weight loss drugs and peptides and all of that, I think Eli Lilly, this is another. I know it's expensive, but this is another strong long-term stock. Probably okay to add on support levels. And if you added on that 500, you're already being rewarded. EKS says, I like Novo a little bit. I like Novo a better value than Lilly. That makes a lot of sense. Remember, unlike Lilly, Novo really, really beaten down. Here's my only question, EKS. I think on this show, literally on this show, I think every time that this has taken the next stare down, we've asked, okay, is it bottoming here? In fact, I know we asked about it at this point because this had an impulse move down in August of 2025. Then we bounced and recaptured some moving averages, which got us thinking maybe the bottom is in. And then it puked all over itself, came back in, held that area, recaptured them again, and then gave them up. Now it's taking another move lower. So I ask you, EKS, I agree with you on the value side of the equation, but is the bottom actually in here for Novo? You tell me. It's what we've been watching for a while here. Okay. Oh, is Lion tooting his own horn too? Well, here, let's give him a register ring, and maybe that'll make him happy there. Love you, Lion. I need the same coffee Ryan is having. That's Pete's, baby. P-E-E-T. And I also supplement it with tea. Oh, and AG1. So I do a lot of stuff to get ready here in the morning. But like someone said earlier, Zach, Any day that you're above ground is a good day, and indeed, that's where we're at right now. That is where we were at right now. Okay. What else do you folks want to take a look at? So we did Eli Lilly, we did Qualcomm, we did Novo. We only got like a minute or two here until 13 shows up. Mahesh is asking 120 to 40. Where's the value in Novo? So EKS. Again, I think what you're asking there, Mahesh, I think what you're asking is where's the bottom in the stock there? But Novo has other products than GLP-1s, and the market is valuing at 0. So there's your value equation. Thank you, EKS, for answering that question. It's not just, the story here is not just about the weight loss. It's about some of the other pipelines there. Wing. Okay, that's one we don't look at every day. I'm going to pick Wing over Broadcom. Then we'll get 13 on here. I think he's probably ready. Here's Wingstop. This is another stock that was just an absolute. I feel like from COVID on, every time we looked at Wing, it was higher than the previous time we looked at it. This thing looks like we had a nasty double top up here at 430 that resolved to the downside. We had a nice bounce back towards the round 400 number that we just could not capture, and then we ended up rolling over. I do think the death cross here really played into this. We moved down, we tried to bounce, we couldn't get back above the 200. We rolled over and probed an area lower. Now it actually looks like we've held this area. This looks like the last time this was a big support was September of 2023. Do we think that these restaurants are going to be good during the summer? We're going to have the World Cup this summer. You could make a case that there's going to be a lot more of this type of food ordered. Chicken generally is going to be viewed as a healthier alternative than something like McDonald's. I don't even know if that plays into this, but something else to consider here. I do like this stock, so I like trying to play this on a support level, and we were recently at a support level here. I could make the case for some catalysts for this as well, but I have no position here. Furthermore, I think one of the other things that we would really need in Wingstop, we really want to see this downtrend get snapped. Now, we're a ways away from that, but I think we really want to see that downtrend get snapped here. EKS, back to the question I had asked you. Bottoms are very difficult to know. I look for lower lows on lower volume. I just scale into the position over weeks and months and expect it to hold for 18 months to 2 years. I think that's a really disciplined approach. I think that's really good. Bottoms are very difficult to know. Indeed, wise man once said, trying to pick bottoms results in a stinky finger. There's a whole bunch of different stuff like that. So I totally agree with you. And I think that your method of scaling in there probably the safest way to do that. And Westcap says, we love the wings. I think you mean the wings at Wingstop. I will say they're really good, man. Those lemon pepper ones, it changes you. It changes you. I would consider wing seasonality. All right, say less. Let's go ahead and bring on 13 and start our pre-market pulse. In from the top rope with the flying elbow drop like Macho Man Randy Savage. We'll take that. What do you have here for the wing seasonality?
Well, brother, what I've got. No, I'm just kidding.
That was actually pretty good.
I was just going to say I would consider it. I don't have anything up here for the seasonality, but one of the things when it comes to restaurants like this, and you were mentioning how maybe in the summer because of the World Cup, we could see this elevate. But we've also tied this to the football season as well, March Madness. So it's things like that I'd be looking at because that's. I think when you start to see these really get going here. By the way, hello, everybody. How are you doing this Thursday morning?
I was going to say a lot of love for 13 out there. A lot of love here this morning. So, all right. You ready to knock out some of these movers? We can always come back to ticker time and finish it off. I know we've got one there, MRAM, that a lot of people seem to be on. So let's go ahead and break these down here. We will start at the top. Well, actually, I'll ask you because this didn't go over.
That one.
Start with HTC. Okay,
yeah.
So this is Haochen AI Parking Management. Again, this is a China stock here. This thing closed yesterday at about $5.50. Looks like we popped above 11 here today and came back in just a little bit. Let's see what the news was here on this, if there was any. Nope, got nothing. So a 88% pop on no news, unless you've uncovered something here. 13, nothing on the short interest. 0.19% of the float short. There's basically nothing there. On average, trades 500,000 shares, done 14 million here today versus a float of 14.75 million. What do you got on this one? HCAI.
Yeah, no news that I could see with this one. This, I think, is moving with a lot of the other the AI related names. It's got AI in the ticker. It's a company that provides like different smart parking and equipment. But when I went to their website, I got a 404 error, so that was not great to see.
Take that.
Yeah. So if they don't have a website, I mean, that's like a little bit of a red flag there. They did recently do a 1 for 30 reverse split that was completed on April 13th. That resulted in the current share structure that we have right now. Company doesn't have any cash that I could see. Didn't really have a great read on their balance sheet either. They do have some revenue, although that's been kind of declining over the quarters, and they're slightly profitable. So they they're just barely above making a net profit. So I don't know how great this one's going to be. It's it looks like we did run up to the 200-day SMA earlier this morning, and just got some resistance there. It's also the last time that we the last time we went up there. That's where we also got resistance. I guess we didn't quite get there. I thought I had a higher print earlier, but that's going to be the resistance area I'm keeping an eye on. We could run up to that just like we did on April 7th. Prior to the announcement of the reverse split that they did, and potentially find some resistance there. So that's kind of what I'd be looking at with this one. Resistance at the 200-day SMA, and if we can't recapture VWAP soon, support down at the 65 EMA at the 5-minute.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there. HCAI, Houchen AI Parking Management. All right. The next one here is one that I know we've traded before. This is Fat Pipe, Fat N, as we affectionately call it here today. This thing moved yesterday pretty well all day, closed at about 250. Today, though, traded up towards 380, and it actually looks like it has a really good formation here in the pre-market. Now, Fat Pipe, this was from yesterday, actually. So this was news from yesterday. It expands its public sector education procurement access through multiple government contract vehicles, contract vehicles. This is what caused it to move yesterday for an 18.66% gain. Today, though, we're up another 50%. Let me take a peek at the short interest on this. I didn't see anything else affecting it. 1.22% of the float short, that's nothing. On average, it trades 1.3 million shares. It's traded 13 million here today versus 6.2 million float. 13, what on earth is going on with Fat Pipe?
Well, the news is that they expanded availability of its solution. So I think that's just kind of opening up the horizon for more revenue is why I think it's moving here. 6.2 million shares in the float. This one actually did just kiss the 200-day SMA, which is I'm still looking at as resistance. The company does have 6 million in cash. It has some revenue and it teeters on profitability. This one looks more appealing to me than the last one we were looking at. There's a lot more information about why it's moving here today. But I think that's what I'd be keeping an eye on here is if we can get through that 200-day SMA. And seeing as how high the RSI is, I'm a little reluctant to think that we could get through it. But if we do, there's going to be some resistance coming up for it. So that's what that's all I've got for the moment on this one. We could see this continue to climb higher. And if we do go beyond 4, I think 415 and then up as much as 540 or 545 could be the next resistance level after that 415 area or 415 area.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff. Fat N. We'll see if we get another good trade out of that. All right. The next one here, this is MRAM, M-R-A-M, and this is Everspin Technologies. And this one moving on earnings here. This popped yesterday in the after hours up to about $16. Took another leg higher today and topped out at $19. Volume actually looks good. Stock is up 22.97%. Yesterday, after hours, the stock reported earnings. It was a top and bottom line beat. EPS of 11 cents, beat the 9 cent estimate, and sales of 14.9 million, beat the estimate of 14.6 million. Looks like they had a adjusted EPS sees Q2 adjusted EPS was not the greatest guide, but they did see sales above their estimate. So that's probably what's driving this higher here. And then this morning, Everspin executes a $40 million agreement for Mil-Aero MRAM applications. This is a $40 million U.S. defense contract win. So they're winning another contract. This is on the back of earnings where the guide for the sales was higher, probably related. Taking a look at the short interest, 4.24% of the float shorted with 2.2 days to cover. So there's some here, but it's really not a lot. Probably not going to impact anything. On average, it trades just over 500,000 shares. It's done 2.5 million here today, and the float is 21.32 million. 13, do you have any thoughts here on MRAM?
I didn't go over this one, but it looks to me like that 1905 high that we hit in the pre-market, that was up near the July or one of the the summer months of 2017 that it found some resistance, which is that's the only time where we've got higher prints. So I'd be looking back there for some levels of resistance. And if 19 isn't going to be 120, certainly looks like it could. I think we've got we have like a close. We don't have a single close over 20. The highest we have is 1998. So I would think that even though we printed well into the 25s. So I think that if we do manage to get past 1905, 20 is going to be a big resistance area for MRAM.
Okay, and remember, this is in the memory sector, right? Magnetized random access memory is where that gets the ticker from. So not really a surprise to see this higher. Jay saying, you guys ever look a week or two later with all of these 1 to 5 pump names go? Yes, we do that all of
sometimes the next day.
We could not be more clear about it, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, these
could not be more clear about it.
And I know it's something that we said like many times about if these were just day trades, be out of these by the end of the day, because we've seen a lot of these just not do a whole lot in the morning and then they go crazy in the afternoon. But I still maintain, do not hold these after the close, because maybe they do go higher, but they certainly will come back in. What was that crazy one from yesterday, like RDAC?
RDAC, yeah. So RDAC. Why don't we just do it? Why don't we just check in on it here today? Look at what it's doing.
Yeah, that one went crazy, and I thought this one wasn't going to be that good, but everybody else said, "Fine, well, let's just grab it and go with it." And this thing ran well into the 20s, and then after hours it went higher, and then it's pretty much given most of that, and not all of it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get pretty close to where we opened yesterday today.
Yeah, I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if we checked on this next week if we were back in a 5 handle. Which represents a 50% haircut from where it's at this morning.
And this is a SPAC too. We know how those trade.
Yeah, a China SPAC.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Did you have anything else on your list?
XRX.
XRX. We're going to go to that right now. XRX. This is Xerox. The Xerox. Xerox holding shares. Looks like they're moving here on earnings. Stock is up 23.5% here. 220 looked to be the top there. Let me see what the actual earnings print was on this. You have to load faster. Adjusted EPS, a 43-cent loss, misses the 27-cent loss estimate. Yikes. Sales 1.84 billion versus 1.74 billion. So we had a mixed report here, and it's spiking 23.5%. Interesting. Short interest on this name, 28%, 11 days to cover. Maybe we have one of these again where we have a little short squeeze here on a name that people might recognize, like Avis Budget Rental Group. Just saying, just trying to tie it together. 13, what do you think here on XRX Xerox Holdings?
Well, I'm pretty sure this float's way larger than Avis. Both to double check that, but I thought that this one float was much larger. But anyway, I think the big reason why this is moving at all is because of their reaffirmed guidance. They have reaffirmed that in fiscal year 2026, they expect to see revenue more than 7.5 billion, even though that's slightly less than the estimate. I think it's coming up on that. At the same time, this thing has also been absolutely hammered to hell, and it's coming off of an all-time low. Like, we've been making all-time lows in this thing for a while, but it finally has turned around. It's trying to come back up. However, it's going to be a point of curiosity for me to see if this can get past that 223 high. If you look at a daily chart, that 223 area was a former support area, maybe just a little bit higher, but I think that I would actually pin 230 to 235 as more of a stronger resistance area.
Yeah.
But that's what I'd be watching here with this. If this turns around and finds support pretty soon in the pre-market here, maybe it doesn't and it goes down to the 65 EMA before it finds support. If we do get that support and it turns around and manages its way through VWAP, that 230 to 235 area, I'd be watching for a resistance or a potential breakout.
Okay. All right. Good stuff there on Xerox XRX. Okay. You didn't have anything else on your list?
No.
Okay. ABITS Group. This is ticker ABTS. This is a Hong Kong name. It looks like this reported earnings yesterday after hours, and it's moving higher here, $1.40. Don't trust that a whole lot. Hertz is also popping here today. Hertz Global shares are trading higher after the company announced its affiliate, Oro Mobility, partnered with Uber to power autonomous robotaxi and driver-led strategic fleet services. So Hertz had an impulse move up towards 750, pull back to the 15 EMA, and just recaptured the VWAP. This might be something to look at here. And then, of course, the bigger names on here that we already covered, Qualcomm, Google, and some of those bigger names. Yeah.
Interesting with Hertz. Last Thursday we lost the 20-day SMA. This and then today, Thursday, it looks like we're going to be climbing back over it. This is the 20-day SMA. So
so I don't have
that may bear some significance. If we do end up holding above the 20-day SMA, I think I'd want to see the price come and test that trend line that we drew, that one that started back from December of 2023. We drew through the high of April 2025.
Yep. So I didn't start it before that, but I drew this last one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we're underneath that now. I'm sorry, we're above that now.
So did you have it connecting the April 2026 high? No.
That's the second point. The first point was back from December of 2023. So if you don't have that, then it's not going to matter.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then Kathy bringing up Chipotle. Where's the noob when we need him? Kathy says Chipotle looks good here. Chipotle looks good to me every day. I don't know what
to eat or to buy.
I mean, yeah, I guess Kathy, I guess maybe I was saying to eat. I absolutely love Chipotle, and this man, it looks good all the time. Here's Chipotle. This thing popped in the after hours up to 35, came back in a little bit, but actually it looks like it's going to try and go higher here today. Let's see if we had any news on this. Yeah, yesterday after hours reported earnings here, adjusted EPS of 24 cents. It was in line. Sales 3.08 billion, beat the 3.06 billion. Comparable sales are about flat. Plans 350 to 370 new restaurants with 80% Chipotlane, and guides 24 to 25% or 24 to 26% tax rate. BTIG out this morning here, $45 price target. Stevens and Company, $39 price target, and TD Cowen, $44 price target. So all of those targets higher than the current price on Chipotle. Maybe it gets a boost from that here today.
Yeah, it's still in compression mode since I guess summer of last year. We've kind of, we're making some higher lows but lower highs at the same time as time has gone on since 2025. So we're going to choose a direction at some point, but we're just kind of compressing right now. So in my view, this could go either way.
Yep.
So if we do go up, if there's more upside to be had here, 38's really looking like a big resistance area. You have the 200-day SMA right there. You have former resistance from 2021. There's a little gap from 2023 that is just right about where 38 is. That's the top end of the gap. I'd be wanting to see what happens at 38. We can blast through that, then I think you may have some more upside to go here, but that'd be my hang up.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. 38. No, this trend line is much higher. That's up actually near 50. The other thing on the downside there, I really think this thing needs to hold 30. I've got the volume point of control going back many years at 30.60. To me, it sure seems like 30 is that level that it does in fact need to hold.
Well,
okay.
Draw a trend line from the low of November 2025 to that low of March 2026.
Let me zoom in and make it a little bit more accurate here, but that's a good idea.
And I would say if we need to hold that trend line. If we lose it, then I would agree with you. I would certainly think we're going lower. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good stuff there with Chipotle. 13, one more here that I just want to briefly mention, and that's going to be one that we've talked about before, Telomere. I know this stock has been somewhat of a disappointment in terms of its low price and its price performance. We did an exclusive here today. They released some more news. It popped initially and came back in, but it is holding about flat. It's slightly higher here. Here's what the news is on Telomere. Again, the reason I'm bringing this up is because we've talked about this before. Telomere Pharmaceuticals announces FDA clearance of IND for Telomere ZN in triple negative breast cancer. Company plans to initiate its first in-human phase 1 and 2 trial in the first half of 2026.
Yeah, I think this is the news we were waiting for. No, I know we were waiting for an IND. I don't know that it was for Telomere ZN for the triple.
I thought it was for Telomere 1.
That's what I thought too. So this is great, but this is not the news that I'm waiting for.
Yeah, and actually we see from March 31st, it submits IND to FDA for Telomere 1. That actually says Telomere ZN.
Okay.
So this is it.
This must have been it. Oh,
so
I need to read this then.
Okay, well, that's something to go through, but that's what's going on here with Telomere. It has not popped as much as we had hoped, but keep this on watch.
This was a lottery ticket either way.
Yeah, and keep this on watch. Full disclosure here, I have some of this. I have a little bit of this, and I'm actually underwater on it. My average price is 208. So I'm underwater on this, but it's a little position basically just to track it. If it pops and goes crazy, I'll sell. If not all of it, part of it, just to kind of recapture some of those gains. But in any case, just wanted to mention that Telomere IND news here today on Telomere ZN. That's what had that initial pop. We'll see if they get any carry through. Yeah,
it probably would have been a much better trade if this thing had not delayed, because they were supposed to do all this last year, and they delayed it into this year. So that probably was the signal right there. But I'm going to read into this because I want to find out more about what's going on with it, because there might still be something here.
Yeah. Okay, really quick here. This question, Azulaf or Aluzaf, is Meta a possible dip buy after this drop? So let's have that conversation here. So I know we talked a lot about all of these different earnings here, all of the different Mag 7 earnings. That is, here's Meta. The big thing here. All right. The big thing here with Meta, it cannot yet prove its ROIC. It cannot yet prove its return on invested capital, but its history suggests that it's going to do fine. And some of the other hyperscalers or AI names also suggest that it's going to do fine. It was recently rejected at the 200-day. So we had a nice little move off of 528-ish. Yeah, 520, 523, 525-ish. We went right up to the 200-day. We actually tested it twice, could not break it. And with this move down, this 8% move lower here, we gap beneath several moving averages, a trend line here that was initiated on near Liberation Day of last year. And it actually looks like we're slightly beneath the 500. So we have another downward sloping trend line that originated in February of 2025 that is connected some of these, I guess, back and forth areas here on the downside. We are approaching that trend line here. I also, if we continue to sell off, I see a little kind of a mini gap that fills down here at 577. So the $64,000 question here, who's buying Meta on the dip? I personally think that I'm definitely worried about the Mantis thing or the Manus thing that you have covered here, 13. That's definitely an overhang. But I think on some of this AI stuff, I think that they're gonna end up being okay. I would rather this come in a little bit more before I buy it.
I think it will.
And you think it will?
I think it will. If you look at the monthly, this is going to end up being the second month that we close under the 20-month SMA, and we've been using that moving average as support during this ascension up here. We did get support back in Liberation Day, that unwind. That was the first time that we tested as support, and then it's been getting hit multiple times since then. We finally lost this moving average last month. That was our first close. And then we tried to recapture it to no avail, and this is going to be our second close. So this is looking a little bit more bearish to me. I would think that we may see some support at 600, but I don't think it'll hold. I think there's going to be some more downside. I could see 520 maybe being a better support area. But I think the big thing for me is we need to get back above this 20-month SMA where it was having much better time going higher. So that's the way I'm looking at Meta. The amount of CapEx. That's the other thing. They had to increase the amount of CapEx too. So more than what they were planning on spending this year. So that's a little bit more of a headwind.
Quote, we continue to underestimate our need for compute, end quote. Meta CFO. So, I mean,
right.
That's that they have done that and they're going to keep doing that. It sounds like.
But I think Google's quote was even better. And they basically,
oh yeah.
The same
and
thing.
I highlighted that too. They were, in fact, constrained by compute was Sundar Pichai's quote there. And absolutely that was better. Really quickly here, 13, you're in good company. Lion likes 525. I think you talked about 520. Matthew's down there, 525. I'd probably join you guys down there at 525 as well. And then Jay here saying Meta taking on debt for AI reminds me of Oracle. Good mention there, Jay. Okay. And then I love this comment here. Normally known, the fundamentals are better with Google. I could not agree with you more. I literally don't think I could agree with you more. I much prefer Google to Meta, just to be clear. He goes on to say Google is going to leave people in the dust again. That would not surprise me at all.
And the thing with Meta is that if this Manus deal isn't unwound in the time frame that Beijing has given them, they could lose access to other services that they rely on for their revenue, like Chinese ad services that they use to sell products and services to Americans. That's a big driver of their revenue. If they lose that technology access, that's going to be impactful.
Yeah. All right. 13. Any other Mag 7 name that you want to take a look at? I'm going to step away for just a minute, but I'll be back before the open.
Guys, which one?
Google? Should we do
sure.
Google? Yeah, let's do that. We were kind of already talking about it. You and I are both impressed with it. Here's Google. I already talked about it. I'm going to let you go off, King. Looks like we went right up to the trend line. I'll be right back.
Oh, perfect. So yeah, it just continues to broaden. So we could see the price bounce around in that range there, that broadening wedge. So we are coming at the top here. Now, if we blow past, through this trend line and continue higher, then that trend line becomes support. This is going to end up being how these these broadening wedges resolve, and they are at the end of an uptrend. It's called a megaphone pattern. So if we do end up getting that move that takes us through this top end of the wedge, we're going to want to see that as support. Now, let's say this gets rejected and it comes back in. Something that could completely happen today, as we are about to get into May, as Lion was pointing out, and stocks are going to get a little bit weaker. And we also have a long holiday over in the Chinese markets, so we aren't going to get any participation from them. That goes on until our after hours on Tuesday, and then the markets will be open again on their Wednesday. So we could see a little bit of weakness going in, as long as that is going on for. But as far as Google goes, that's what I would want to see is what happens with this trend line. Are we going to get through it? And if we do, that's going to be viewed as support. If we can't close over it, or if we come back beneath it the next day and close back inside it, then I would be watching for the move to come back in, and we can discuss some support levels there. Where do I see Intel? When he gets back, we'll pull up Intel as well. And yeah, we'll look at some of these other ones, TER, and Oracle. And yeah, Oracle is buried in debt, and some of these other names have a lot of debt too. And the risk here is that if one of these firms isn't able to meet their obligations, then it could it could cascade the whole. It could back everything else up. So that's really the risk here with all of these this debt being thrown around. And so if everything works out great, then Oracle will probably do very, very well. But if there's any hiccups along the way, or if there's a bottleneck in all of this that makes the debt a little bit more cumbersome on Oracle, then it's not going to do so well. Can we look at Intel, because we were getting asked about that? Where do we see Intel? So this one is very extended. I don't think there's any question about that.
None.
But and I do expect that this will cool off at some point. But this is kind of playing catch up here right now with some of the other semi names. But I do expect this to come back in. But the thing that I'd be watching for, the big headline I'm waiting for, that's going to likely come in later on this year with them, is their new process that's called DSA, which is directed self-assembly. That's going to be this new, even smaller than I think it's smaller. It's supposed to be smaller than 1.8 nanometer, but it's a process. It's a little bit of a newer process that's going to allow it's a little bit more newer than traditional chip making. It's going to allow for even smaller molecular level assembly of transistors. So Intel's really leaning into that technology. TSM and Samsung are also doing it, but they're taking a much slower, more stable approach to it. But this is, Intel's the one to watch for with DSA. And if we start getting more information about that process being, those chips being sold, it's going to be their 14A process, I believe. That's going to be some news that I think could send this higher. But here we are.
We are open.
All right, so HCAI, let's see if that can push higher, maybe up to 12. It looks like it was trying to set up to do that. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Xerox lower, coming down to the 65 EMA, just selling off immediately.
MRAM, this came right back into VWAP.
All right, so far out of the gate, not a whole lot of upside. Maybe Fat Pipe here. It's holding that VWAP.
I would say if anyone is buying any of those Mag 7 earnings reports from yesterday, definitely would like to hear about that. Watching BA for a move higher. Okay. Okay, MRAM through the VWAP now.
These are all coming in.
Market is coming in too. SPY right to the VWAP. S&P futures still above the VWAP. That VWAP pretty much laying right on the S or R1 resistance 1 pivot. Everything. Wow. I just looked at my other screen. Everything is coming back in. Ondas pulled. Apple pulled. Netflix pulled. Palantir pulled. Palo Alto pulled. Bitcoin's pulling 76K. Tesla's pulling. PayPal's pulling.
We are past those earnings. And there's probably, look at HCAI. That's probably going to go into a halt. So the junky one is getting messed with, just like the one yesterday. Okay, so lost VWAP there. Fat Pipe comes in. There's the 65 EMA as support. That might help. That might be it. 320 is about what I've got.
Fat N, let's get that up here.
Rare Earth is
this
up.
USAR?
Yeah.
Now, you know what's interesting? I saw a graphic. I wish I would have saved it. That would have been great for street tweets. I saw a graphic yesterday on all of the companies that the government has taken a stake in, and the only one that really hasn't moved yet is USAR. And here's what it's doing today.
That might signal that there's going to be some trouble with the Xi-Trump meeting. But nothing's guaranteed. It's just a signal. Where did that go? So we just talked about RDAC, the Rising Dragon.
Sorry, really quick. I saw several people mention it. ACAN is trading up to its VWAP as we speak. Just wanted to mention that real quick. 13, get back in there.
No, I was just saying that RDAC continues to put in some lows. It's trying to get some support from the 10, looks like the 1045 area, but that thing got hammered down. Maybe it's being messed with since HCAI is halted. All right, now it looks like Xerox got some support down around 175. It's coming back up.
Oh, what a bounce there in MRAM. Nice little scalp there. Hermang making money off of ACAN. See, you got that back. And we didn't have to tell you what to buy. Look how impressed. Look, that is exactly. Look, I want to focus on that. The other day, you took a nasty loss. That's what happens to every trader. Yep. You asked us what to do to get it back. We told you we couldn't tell you. And then you did it yourself. That's what register ring for Herman. Great job. And by the way, MRAM there, man, I might have ran from that scalp a little too early there. Look at that move there in MRAM.
I didn't notice it, but
right up to 19.
Line. There's a trend line there. You start with the after hours high, go through the pre-market high. That gives us a target.
Oh, perfect, 13. You know what? If I had that trend line on there, maybe I'd have stayed in or scaled. We were actually just talking about scaling earlier. I think I might need to do that a little bit more on some of the successful day trades.
Xerox went up to VWAP now. It's turned positive. There's a big seller in the way at 215.
Oh, and here it is right at view. Good call, 13. Good call.
Then it dropped to 602. It's probably going to find some support around 600, but I don't know if that's going to hold, beyond today. Maybe it goes lower today. Looks like Fatten is now starting to go positive as well. This was having trouble getting through the 375 high. We'll see how high it goes here.
Market is still coming into S&P futures now down to VWAP.
Looks like Fatten just got a large seller to step in and trying to push this down. We'll see if he gets chewed up or if he pulls it down.
That's beneath the VWAP. ACAN, that stopped right at the VWAP there, although they had a nice pop here this morning. Viav, this is Viavi Solutions. They're trading higher if the company reported better than expected Q3 results and issued Q4 guidance above estimates. This ran into the open and has since been pulling. For any of you that are in Viav here, what's the spot? 53? Lots of fades. Carvana, good mention, Jay, on Carvana there. This is another one that reported last night. This thing just absolutely wild. Look at the pullback on this.
Jeez.
Viav, Matthew, I appreciate this. Viav, V-I-A-V, is a testing company that's like a toll booth for all these data centers and chip producers. They were also the old owners of Light and divested that part of the company. So do you like Viav, Matthew, for more than just a day trade here? Sorry, 13, for running you over.
So I have a trend line on Carvana that goes from the high of 2021, and I drew it through the high of August of 2025. I kept that going, and that's the price where we kind of opened at today and sold off. That's that trend line.
I did this on the other chart, but let me August of 2025.
You just passed it.
Right here?
Right there.
And it's this one?
Yep. Start from there.
To this one? Got it. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that I drew this one already on my bigger chart, but I might as well add it here as well. So let me go ahead and plot this real quick, 13.
All right.
And we had it right through here, and we basically ran up exactly to the... I love it when a plan comes together. Let's go. Let's go, 13. Look at that.
Yep.
Look at that. Okay. What else am I missing here? Reggie says, weird trends today. It's early. Maybe that'll shake out. Matthew, so you do like VIAV for the long term. Up and to the right for a long time. Okay. That might be one to also then look at on weakness.
Looks like MRAM is trying again. It just moved above VWAP. It's still facing some of that resistance from just above or just around 19. Don't have any closes above 19 either, even though we've been trading above it. So I want to see that move, the price move beyond 19.
It's also a bit whippy, 13. Mm-hmm. So that first scalp there did it on kind of a little bit lower volume there. It's a bit whippy though, so you might want to consider scaling into this one too. That way, if it goes against you, you're not sitting there contemplating your life or the mistakes in that life.
We don't have mistakes, just lessons. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but that's true. That's really the attitude that you need to have, right? Like if you're going to lose money, have it be a lesson. Make something from it. What do you got?
Fatten just had a big move that took out several sellers. It just popped up to 360. It looks like it's trying to push higher.
That held the VWAP so far.
Yeah, it's still having trouble with getting past that 375 area where it's been getting resistance. But if we can push past 375, this may go on a little bit of a run.
Interestingly enough, a lot of those pulls that we talked about seem to be short-lived. The notable outlier is Apple, which reports earnings tonight. That is still at the lows. Netflix totally reversed. Even Ondas reversed. Palantir's trying to bounce. Palo Alto's trying to bounce. Bitcoin's trying to move back above 77K. And the SPY's still pulling.
Did we hear from Turnus today?
Good question. I would say yes. We are still going to hear from Tim Cook because that transition doesn't take place till September. Right. But I would imagine that part of the reason you have this transition is so that you start having Turnus do more and more on these calls. Now, he's already talked on these calls. Oh my God, MRAM, can I have my shares back?
Oh, come on, hit the trend line, please.
So yes, I do. To answer your question, I'm sorry for getting distracted. To answer your question, yes, I do. And I actually would not be surprised also if we get questions that are directed towards him.
Yeah.
As opposed to Cook, who we know we're going to hear from. So.
All right. So yeah, I mean, when things like that, like MRAM are going and we get excited about it, it's totally reasonable to completely magpie onto this thing.
Magpie.
Shiny objects we get attracted to.
Lion saying, no, Ryan, you're not getting your shares back. And then laughing emoji. Of course I'm not.
USAR 24 now is the high. CHKP may be hitting cyber names. Jay.
Let's take a look at it. Checkpoint Software down 13%. Checkpoint Software shares are trading lower if the company reported worse than expected Q1 financial results. This thing moved from 140 down to 121. Now it is doing its best to hold the pre-market low. Yeah, that news was good thinking about it on MRAM. To me, MRAM was a better quality mover than all of the other ones that we talked about today. Oh, and then, Matthew, I'm sorry I missed this one when I was asking you about Viav. You said, I will not be trimming today as I see the company getting better over the next couple of years. So that's totally fine, right? It's made a huge move. You're in a really good shape on your position, but your time horizon on your trade is dictating what you do. I think that's smart planning on longer term trades. I think that's a good move. Jay saying lots of names are extended and then offered Intel as an example of that. Jay, what do you think happens first here? Do you think we get a pullback to the 70s or do you think we see 100 first? I guess that's not fair. We're only 7 points away from 100 and we're 33 away or 23 away from the 70 handle. So maybe that's not fair. What do you think happens first, though? You think we touch 100 before we have a meaningful pullback on Intel?
They are.
Ondas red to green, giddy up. So needs it after yesterday, I'll tell you that much.
Getting a mention that LAR is moving nicely. It's up 50 cents. I wonder what some of the other lithium names are looking like.
Chris, I can go to those lithium names in a sec here, 13, but let me just not forget about this since we talked about this yesterday on Happy Hour as well. USO here, Chris saying, I have to look to get back long USO on this pullback. USO is probably going to retest 155. So here it is pulling back 147. Looks like we pulled back to 145. We talked about this yesterday. It seems like a lot of folks think that oil might even go higher from where it's at now. USO would be a great trade on that. Let me know what your buy spot there is there. And then Tush saying, looks like the market is finally reacting to oil prices. It's interesting because earlier this week we had oil trading higher and the market still wanted to push higher. But I agree with you. It looks like maybe that is kind of straightening out here now.
Yeah, LAC is looking pretty good. See, ALB should probably also be up as well.
And then Jay, I asked you about Intel. Not now, Intel. Let it come back to the 8-day. There you go. Thank you, Jay. That is actionable. MRAM, this is above 19. Watch for that to maybe test 20 again, maybe the trend line. Even Google is starting to give up its gains. I still maintain Google's add-on weakness.
Let's look at Google. Because there's going to be some spots that are much better to pick up than others. I mean, first, let's I mean, I think we could fill this gap. Maybe we get a floating island, but it, because of how extended these are, and we're coming to the end of the month. Maybe we don't see the selling until after the month begins, because we're going to probably get some window dressing. So that might it might be something we see more of next week.
Ondas 10 calls going off. Trader bought 8,500 of them. That's for May 15th. That's its earnings day. MRAM calls for September going off. These are the 25 calls on the MRAM. That might be the first time I've seen MRAM calls go off on the unusual option scanner there. NBIS calls. That actually had a rough day yesterday. Or did it? I think it ended up coming back. Let me take a look here at NBIS. That bounced yesterday after its earnings, if I recall correctly. Let me make sure I get this right so I don't. Yeah. So this traded down in the morning and then bounced late in the afternoon.
Was asked about Venture Global, ticker VG. For me, I want to see this.
Wasn't earnings though. Sorry.
I want to see this get back over $13. That's you have the 50 and the 20-day SMAs right there, just beneath $13. So if we manage to recapture that, I think that would be better for more continued upside. But not really liking the formation, and And if this doesn't manage to recapture those two moving averages, I think we're coming down to the 200-day SMA.
Cat is holding the gap. Jay, does that tell you that the picks and shovels data center infrastructure play is still a winning one? Cat is moving higher. Peter, how happy are you right now?
Cat gap.
Cat gap.
Following that drop down beneath the 65 EMA, Xerox hasn't really done much. That might have been the whole trade there. MRAM still holding the VWAP. As long as it holds that, there's still a chance we can hit the trend line. Fatten looked like that was about to go back above its VWAP, but still struggling with it.
Teradyne, nice, Kath. How much further do you think this comes back up, Kathy? Peter says he's super happy. Yeah, I bet. Big time cat holder right there.
That news may have also, I guess it's okay. So we really haven't gone a whole lot higher in GE Vernova. I was thinking that with all the, the other data center names and, the chip names and everything, that GE Vernova might have a good day too. It's up over 1%, but not able to go a whole lot higher at the moment. I would love for this thing to come back in. I'd like to pick it back up, but
yeah, me too.
I don't want it above 1,000.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you on that. Cam, don't want to spam. You're good, Cam. Wanted to ask if we can check out the ETF AIPO. I'm looking for a good entry around 27. This is AIPO. This is the Defiance AI and Power Infrastructure ETF. I see why you like this one. So this is also fairly extended. You want to pull back to around 27? I see the level. I mean, I don't know if you'll get that. I think you might have to try holding 29 before it makes any significant move lower.
Xerox pushing up to the session highs again. There's still a seller at 215 that may get in the way of any upside. Session high for Xerox. BM&R has a nice morning.
And Bitcoin's not even really making a huge move here. I mean, it's up, but it's not like, anything crazy. Xerox looking like it's flirting with its VWAP again here.
I think Reginald is looking at Fly.
Okay, can bring that up.
Aerospace.
Sure.
It's not really doing a whole lot today, but they have earnings on Monday. And yesterday it looks like a pretty good reversal candle. We'll see if that can turn around. And first things first, we need to recapture 35. That looks like that's a resistance level. And then after that, the 20-day SMA.
I think David from our happy hour group likes Fly too.
It's one of the rocket names. So yeah, I think it could be really it could be good. We're looking at a golden cross here on the daily chart as well. That might be, looks like that's happening today. We'll see if that carries any weight into the weekend.
So SPY here tried to bounce after that open pull, went right back to the VWAP, didn't have the strength to break it. S&P futures pretty much sitting right at VWAP right now.
Ooh, MRAM with a nasty pull there. Looks like a lot of these movers are pulling right now. Xerox back underneath its VWAP, MRAM with a big move down.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Fatten, Lightning. This thing coming down to its 65 or close to a 65 EMA. It was just a pull there across the board, it looked like, but I wonder if we see this get bought up.
Apple is trying to bounce a little bit. Amazon pulled back after its earnings. Looks like it held 260 on Amazon. Izzy, where's the ad spot on Amazon?
Trey, I thought there was, we already had some of that movement in Joby. That we did get some because of the starting of the flights in New York City. I thought we did see a little bit, but I guess you were looking for a bit more than what we got.
You know, you normally know you're mentioning Amy here. That's one that we've actually traded before.
Okay.
I don't have a long-term position in this 13. I can't remember if you do either.
No, the trade I did in this
I
a
have to
long time
scroll
ago is over, and I still laugh about how I should have just held on to this one. But I was trading this one, back in 2024, 2025 on the news that China was cutting off antimony supplies to the U.S. And then that whole thing ended up developing into a rare earth trade, and then it just absolutely ripped. And here we are now, 10 times higher. More than 10 times higher than where we were before.
And interesting. So this is earnings tomorrow. I don't have it confirmed, but I trust your judgment on that, normally known.
It's holding the 50 and the 20 pretty well. It looks like it wants to go higher. I'd say maybe 1250. That's going to be the big question mark there. We got to get through that. But if we do, then this thing could possibly rip. But I would say at 1250, those two areas look like the near-term resistance. Looks like
SPY might retest its intraday lows after the VWAP rejection.
All right.
And I got this strawberry double matcha tea from Republic of Tea. It is one of the most delicious teas I think I've ever tried. Highly recommended. We're not a sponsor of the Republic of Tea. I spend my own money on it and love it.
Well, I am going to drink my coffee.
So fat N. So on this pullback that you were highlighting out of the open 13, looks like it did hold the 65 EMA so far.
Yeah.
Take a look at LAC. Someone else mentioned LAC earlier. I'm sorry I didn't get to it, but we can pull that up here. MRAM trying to bounce. Can't get back over 18. Kathy, you called 18 out earlier as a key level there. Looks like it's still battling with that, having some trouble. Here's LAC. Do you think this is a bullish candle?
Let's see here.
Looks like maybe it's flagging up here. It doesn't break the VWAP 533. Maybe it holds and goes higher.
Let me pull it up on my broker. I might get a better view of this there. I don't know. I'd call this bull flagging. As long as we hold the VWAP, we should be okay. But
I guess I should have just stayed with that. As long as we hold VWAP, maybe we're okay for higher.
Yeah, but I don't know that we will. You know, what was driving all the minerals? There's some catalyst that was doing it, and I think this is going with it. And you know, that's still very much a big supply chain concern. But and batteries are still very much a big thing. So we're going to need lithium. I like Albemarle because there's also a massive bromine play there.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, if commodities, you know, minerals are going to be a big thing, which I still think they are, this and other names will continue to climb. I just don't know about today. You know, very, very little price action happening here for me to really, you know, feel good about saying, oh yeah, it's going to turn around and go higher. Looks like Xerox is taking another attempt at pushing higher.
Looks like the QCOM earnings dip, or maybe even a profit taking, was bought here. QCOM reported earnings yesterday. It dipped a little bit out of the open here, but getting bought right back. It's actually above VWAP here on QCOM.
Then Lion, it's probably a really good time to get it if you have a longer term horizon on Lithium Americas. So next year it'll be complete, and then, you know, production will ramp up, but we want to start seeing some revenue from that. And do you know when that's going to start happening? I'm sure it'll pop in the interim, but we could see some selling pressure into those pops as well.
Yeah, definitely helping the Dow. SPY bounce just obliterated. ES coming into the 71.61 level that we had identified. Good morning, Neville. Good to see you. Grats Samel on trimming Google. Ringing the register there. I love that. Love that you still have some too. Still like that for the long term. OSRH, that's our penny stock. Penny stock du jour here today. That is popping on volume. Wiss is not wrong about that. Can F. That did go higher here. Looks like it's struggling at 4 there.
Feels like we're just chopping around.
That's what Zach's saying here. Chop, chop, bring the chopping board. Zach, I don't know if you have the same problem that I do, but every time I see a chopping board, I immediately mistake it for a charcuterie board, and I just want to fill it up with cheese, crackers, and meats and fruits. Can't help it. Do love cheese boards.
All right. So we are getting some support from the VWAP and Lithium Americas.
The 4 Mag 7 earnings from yesterday, only Google is still green.
Seemed like they had the best earnings report.
No question. I would completely agree with you.
Oh, yeah. Hey, there you go. Lithium America is climbing a little bit higher now. It's just on little volume. Want to see bigger volume in these smaller names. Got to get through all those sellers that are standing in the way.
Akival, if I'm pronouncing your name correct, what are your thoughts on TRT for a swing trade? Let me check that out here for you. Ticker TRT. This is Triotech International. So that's actually having a kind of a decent day. This retraced some of its bigger move and looks like it's curling back up. What does this one do? Provider of reliable test equipment and services to the semiconductor industry. That's why we've been talking about this recently. I think this is a pretty good theme. Haven't we talked about Keys and AEHR in this as well?
Yeah, Keys is one that I was pointing out that it looks like it could continue higher. I think that was just slightly under 200 or something when I was talking about it, or 300. Now we're over 300 and still climbing. So Keys is looking pretty good. I was just looking at Beta because we were getting asked about that. This looks like it's another one of those Archer and Joby plays. This one's backed by GE and Archer.
BETA?
Yeah. Let me look at their website because I'm pretty sure they have their aircraft on their website. I think I've looked at. Yeah, they do. There's video of it right there.
Get Cathar cheese and thank me later. I think Costco has that, actually. I will check, Zach.
Fatten is looking a little concerning here. We're coming down to the 65 EMA. If we don't get support there, this is going to probably come into $3 even.
Here's your fat. Let me go back to a 5 minute. Sorry, I was on an hourly there. Here's your fat N. And then Akival, just on your TRT question, I don't have this. I'm not buying it today, but I think that's in a pretty good sector or theme. And I think off of the initial move that brought you up to 1910, you basically retraced half of that, and it looks like it might be curling. I also, my seasonality study actually shows it's positive going into through May and into June. So I actually don't think that's bad here for a swing. I just I don't have any of it myself. And then someone asked what we thought about SanDisk SNDK ahead of earnings. Yeah, you got any thoughts on this? I mean, here's my thought, 13. You tell me if I'm off base on this. I feel like they're going to put up a good number, and I would not be surprised at all if the stock trades higher. But these things have been volatile. You could make the case that it's extended. I mean, we heard, like, if we're hearing from all of these companies last night that compute is the constraint and that we need more memory and that the memory is already booked out, it's hard for me to see this going down. But it is extended.
Yeah. Let's see here. So, that's a 5 minute. Hold on. Let me look at the daily. By the way, LIC, great reversal off of VWAP. We did get support there. Haven't printed new session highs, and it's still moving pretty slow, but nice move off the VWAP. Now, as far as SNDK, we did. So it looks like we got okay. We opened at what 11. I'm sorry, 1110, 1112, 1110, something like that. This looks like we're probably going to come into. I would say 1075. See, I feel like with this one, we could see some selling.
Really quick here. Let me just jump in. Pachi, take care of yourself. Enjoy your holiday. You have earned it. We thank you for all of your support. And we will, of course, keep the seat warm for you for when you get back. 13, I'm sorry for interrupting you.
No, it's okay. I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree that this could still go higher, but I get the sense that maybe we see a move up off of earnings, and then tomorrow this thing sees a lot of selling. Where it comes down to, I can't say exactly. They just had another price target of 1,200. That was I think mentioned yesterday by Wedbush. I think this thing probably needs to come in before it goes higher, but that's just me. I could be wrong about that because, as you pointed out, compute's the bottleneck.
Yep. And then we had another question here. Deep Tech Social, I think. What do you guys think of Meta from here? You must have just joined a little late here today. By the way, we start at 8 a.m. But our thought here on Meta is we kind of think this might come in a little bit more. And we had said that prior to the open today. Now, it is lower from the pre-market lows. We'll see if that holds up here. But we kind of gave some more targets a little bit lower. I think 525, 520 was the consensus target that we had on Meta.
Yeah.
Now, if you like this for the long term and you're okay with a long-term time horizon and you want to add a right around 600 and then maybe DCA as the stock moves back down, not against it. I do agree here with 13 and then the rest of the group. I think this comes in a little bit more.
Yeah, and I don't know that I'd really want to be adding or jumping into a position with this until we get some more clarity on how the Manus unwind is going and what's going to happen, what happens after that. I would want to wait and see what's going to happen before as we go into the next quarter. So and we're not we still have earnings are ways out now, but I think I'd wait for this one. And like I said earlier, we are now facing the second month closing underneath the 20-month SMA after we were leaning on it. The stock was leaning on it for support. So we need to get back above that moving average. And if we continue to close underneath it, I think that spells more downside for the stock. It's
Buffalo
lonely
by
in the
Bicycle
metaverse.
says it's lonely in the metaverse. Yeah, I bet it is. Let me know if you find my keys that I lost in the metaverse.
MRAM on the return. Xerox new session highs.
Look at that. And I'll tell you what, man, I wish I was watching this. I probably would have traded this again. No problem, Deep Tech.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, Meta will probably be great later on down the road, but right now it's facing a lot of pressures, and it's just recently had to increase its capex. That's one of the things they mentioned in their financial report. So just not the most positive things occurring for Meta right now. So I think I'm not a buyer until lower prices. USAR new session highs, 24.56. This thing has been fantastic this morning. Xerox higher. AmRam still trying to recover. 1971 is a session high. We had that in the first 10 minutes of the open. Haven't been able to clear it since.
Redwire, one of Normally's hopefuls. Redwire, part of our space theme. That's been a good trade for our group here.
Oh yeah, that's having a good day. Got a trend line we're coming up to here. That might be resistance. Let me look and see what that is.
Ed says, what's the price of land in the metaverse? Less than the price of land I bought in Scotland to get my Lord title. That much I can tell you. I don't know if you saw, but Bia is back on the...
Yeah, I noticed it this morning, and I was like, oh, look at you. But there's some other name. You can certainly trade it. It's providing some good price action, but it's very choppy. Like Zach was saying earlier, it's not really. It did finally get through the VWAP, and it was holding it for a moment, but we're back beneath it. So still just day trading this one if you want to take a stab at it.
Deep Tech says, you might hate this question, but if you had 50K right now, which one stock would you pick? Now, I don't hate that question. It's a hypothetical, so it's obviously not financial advice. So I love that. And we love sharing our different opinions here. Now, when you say one stock, can it be any stock, or is it one of these Mag 7s that we've really kind of been talking about? If it's the Mag 7 as the universe there, I would have, and I can only pick one, I would have to pick Google.
Yep. That's my answer too.
So I don't know if that answers your question. Let me know, though. Ryan, dude, too funny. I don't know what I said, but glad you enjoyed it, Gio. Normally picks Micron. The memory name's not a bad choice either, considering how booked out they are.
Yep, they're not a bad choice. I mean, I think a lot of these companies, you could just throw a dart at a board with a lot of these names on there, and it'll probably end up doing really well. I think that we're going to see more upside in AMD. We're going to see more upside in Broadcom. I think a lot of these really big semi names are going to continue to do well, especially when you have companies like Google saying our biggest problem right now is that we don't have enough of those products. What's that?
Corning. We have an out of the money. Oh man. Okay. We have an out of the money call buy on Corning here. This is the December expiry and the 170 call. So this is the 170 strike, December expiry. Trader bought 499 contracts, probably bought 500. Spent 1.28 million. Corning, ticker GLW. That's the most interesting trade I've seen off this scanner today. So far.
Lots of stuff seems to have slowed down. Looks like HCAI, the one is the 404 website, is still trying to push higher here. Maybe we get another, what is it, an RDAC move in this one?
Now, RDAC was a halt fest all day.
It's halted right now.
Oh, okay. Oh, how about that?
It tried to come back up, but it got rejected up at the 55 EMA, and now it's reversed down and it's halted at VWAP.
Ryan and 13, you guys remember when MU was 87 and we said buy it? Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
we do. Remember when we sold it at 120? And then it went to 150.
At least we got the bottom right. Corning makes the best fiber. They are getting they have a lot of business too. I think it's both Meta and Google that are leaning on Corning for connecting their data centers globally. Lots of stuff pulling right now. New highs in HCAI. Yeah, I think, when we were talking about Micron, we were all, I think, saying, we were pretty much all saying the same thing. This is a good spot. This is a great spot here. It's, and now just look at the massive move it's had. We'll find more of those. There's always going to be some more. I remember how a lot of times when folks see these really crazy movers that go like, sometimes we've seen these ones go 1,000+%. And, people saying to themselves, we're never going to see anything like that again. Just you wait. This market is full of surprises.
I was going to say, challenge accepted. Yeah. We will absolutely do that again.
There will always be something like that's going to happen at some point.
I saw a couple of you guys mentioning track earlier, but I didn't know what the context was on this. This is ticker TRAK. Repositrack. It's up 11% here today. Earnings in 2 weeks. What's the deal with this one, Lion? Software as a service company based in Murray, Utah, specializing in supply chain management solutions for retailers, suppliers, wholesalers, predominantly in the food industry.
Okay.
You know what this needs? This needs a PR about some new service or product that AI is going to help make them more efficient.
I feel like we could see food be an issue with how energy prices are rising. So I don't want to lean too much into this thought, but there could be something there with this company if we see food supply chains run into trouble with the energy shock that we're seeing.
And it's a story trading play.
Oh, nice. Okay. Now there could be a number of reasons for this, but I do see some insider selling. It's by the same guy, it looks like. So there could be a number of reasons he's doing that. It could be just, it could be just something that's already pre-planned. But the chief executive officer, Randall Fields, looks like he frequently sells this stock.
Yeah, if it's frequent, then it might be like a pre-planned sell program then.
Reddit or Roblox for earnings? Eric, I'm going to have to take a shower after answering this question.
Uh-oh.
Well, because I really think that both companies are gross. That's why. I don't. We talked a lot about Roblox, and we actually had a really good, short idea with this back in, I think it was like August or September last year, and this thing really did come down. I even remember Jay playing the bounce on this, and that worked out really well. But that I think is over now, because we did not recapture and hold above that 50-day SMA, and we are still continuing lower. Now it looks like we're trying to form a base here, so maybe there's a possibility that this has good earnings and it climbs back up. But I wouldn't be surprised if this company is still losing a ton of money. Oh, it sure is. 316 million net loss last quarter. This company still loses a ton of money, even though it has a ton of it in the bank. Maybe with Roblox. Reddit, on the other hand, let's take a look at Reddit. That chart looks similar too.
Someone earlier mentioned that there was some fiasco going on, but I might as well be considered a boomer. I have no idea what he was referencing. I don't know what the fiasco is. I feel like every Reddit thread is a fiasco to begin with, but I don't think what he was meaning.
Maybe it's with their moderators. I know that when it comes to their moderators, it's very very polarized. So that could be it. I don't. Let me see here. Let me just give me a second with Reddit and see if I can figure something out with this. Reddit kind of looks like it might trade better. If I'm being honest, we're getting support from the 50-day SMA in Reddit, even though we just lost the 20. I like this area where it's getting support is also a former resistance area when the price was trading underneath it. So I think when it comes to Reddit, and as much as I don't like either company, I think I would lean on Reddit as probably the one that does better in earnings. And if I'm not correct about that, I'm sorry, but I just looking at these charts, I think I would, I guess, go with Reddit reluctantly if I had to choose between the two. Nice thing about Reddit, though, is that we continue with this broadening wedge that we just recently tested in March. So we could climb higher with Reddit. I think that's when I would lean with Reddit. There's my answer.
Singapore company RPGL Republic Power Group. This nice little spike there. What's good call on this? This went right through the VWAP on that, and now new intraday highs.
All right, go forth and make money, Eric.
Go forth. The blessings, the 13 blessing for Eric. Let's go.
No problem. No problem. Watt 30, man. Thinking about it, really. I mean, I was waiting for that because we talked about how that might one day be good. I remember talking about it with you like back in 2021 or 2022. And if I had the patience that thinking about it does, I'd probably still own that.
I accept your blessings, sir. Eric, good stuff, man.
Xerox still slowly grinding higher.
Normally known says, I bet you guys another peace deal news is coming to drive the market. I know Trump. I wouldn't put that past you, but I would also push back a little bit and say it does seem like the Trump statements are, I don't want to say being bought less and less, but like the impulse move is less and less. Like I think the market is kind of waiting for like an official end that's not just a Trump post.
I will take the opposite side. I think we are going to see renewed strikes.
Well, that's the news that this morning they're contemplating renewed strikes to get them back to the bargaining table.
I think we will see renewed strikes. I think that's what's going to happen. Trump's meeting with the same admiral that he met with prior to their whole campaign here. I think that they're going to try and finally drive the dagger all the way in. We'll see how successful that is, but I think we're seeing strikes. And it wouldn't surprise me because here's the thing. I was mentioning earlier how the Chinese markets are closed until our Tuesday after hours. It's going to be their Wednesday morning because of their holiday. So there's not going to be a reaction from them. And I don't think that they will even be able to affect our markets because they won't be able to trade because their markets are closed. So
it was Brad Cooper is the admiral that you're referring to, by the way.
Yes.
And they did specify that they wanted it to feel like a quick surgical strike. So just kind of going back to Normally's point here, like I think that now you're talking about them driving the dagger all the way in. I don't disagree with you at all. I think what they're trying to do is drive that dagger so that they can force the deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so now to your point, we'll see how successful he is with that, right? We don't know. Jay will take the other side. This is good though. I love that we got people on both sides. This is awesome. That's what makes a market. Webcoin coming in with the Beyond Meat mention. Is it ripping?
You guys calm down your war talk. We have a fake meat company rallying now. All right, let's see here.
How about the American people, Lion, that are up on the Intel buy? Oh, that doesn't fit your thesis anyway. Beyond Meat is ramping, by the way. Let's see if we get above $1. Still away from the $30 price target that was floated here.
Getting a lot of these names we were looking at here this morning starting to pull.
Sanjay, do you want me to run through some of them?
Well, it's just some of the ones that we didn't cover as far as the movers specifically today, but others that we've mentioned like like BMNR popped to 2116. That's really coming in now. Xerox is pulling back after making a new session high. Lithium Americas. This looks like this is going to. It lost its VWAP. This looks like it could come in some more. USAR also coming in pretty big. So we're getting some selling happening here. We could see these names just sell a little bit more here.
Sanjay, you were asking here. Where did it go? Views on ITA and KTOS. I don't really have one on KTOS, but on ITA, just as far as like the defense names in general, this was another discussion that we had last night.
Yep.
I think that we're really kind of coming into some buy areas on some of these, most notably Lockheed Martin, which is sitting right at its 500. You mentioned ITA. ITA looks like it's trying to find some support down here at 213. So I think I like the defense names. I like some of the individual ones more. The last trade on ITA did not work for me, but the trade on Defend did work for me because it was more short dated. But I think this is generally not a bad spot to maybe add some of those. Got to have a long-term view on it, though. I don't know that they pop the next day.
And Sanjay, if you're trying to figure out which one to own, KTOS is in ITA. So you could just own ITA and call it good. All right, a little bit of relief here. Okay, so
gas price came in, Lion. Gas price came in, but obviously the war with Iran changed that. Still think it will. That won't be a huge long thing. We'll see. We'll see. He was wrong on his first time frame. We think we can say that. S&P futures here. How about that? Holding the 7161 level and trying to bounce. We'll see if it continues to hold that. SPY not far away from VWAP, but boy, it has used VWAP as resistance all day intraday here.
Erica asking, when does the space play come back into play? I would say, well, I don't know if I would pin it on any specific time. One of the things that could certainly get the whole space thing going again is if SpaceX has their Flight 12 at some point soon, hopefully next month. That most recent static test fire we discovered in this video that SpaceX released last week, or was it earlier this week? That most recent static test fire was an abort, so there could be one more static test fire coming. But I think that the space thing is going to turn around. I just don't know exactly what point that's going to be, but I would think it could get a lift from the Flight 12 launch. And if not there, the SpaceX IPO, whenever in June that's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Well, Forsman, Boeing did. They do still a little bit, but that Dreamliner spacecraft, or is it Starliner or Dreamliner? I think you might be right, Starliner. But anyway, that spacecraft that ran into problems, NASA, I think, kind of walked away from that. So even though that Boeing still is an aerospace and space trade, I think that they're not as prominent as they once were in that sector.
Yeah. Okay. MRAM still holding above 18.
Any thoughts on UMC? Is this United Microelectronics Group? Okay.
I can bring that up here. UMC.
This thing looks like it trades very thinly. I guess it doesn't, but just looking at the price action of this on a daily chart, one would think that it trades very thinly because there's gaps all over the place. That's a Taiwan company, and we know what they do with semiconductors. Did this just recently hit a new all-time high? Let me look at a larger time frame. Okay, this is interesting. Let's do a trend line here. So we have this thing had its high of 1176 back in September of 2000. It did not see that price again until 2021, same month. came back in, and now here we are in May, breaking through that high. But we haven't, we've cleared the trend. We traded above this trend line, but we didn't close above it yet. So I would say if we can close above that trend line, which would, I would like to see it. I would personally want to see this above $13. And if we get that, this could probably end up going much higher. How high, I don't know, but this looks like we're at a pretty important spot here. If you're looking at a monthly chart.
I was cycling through the charts, by the way, when you were talking about that. I know I landed here on the 5. Big Grip saying, hey, any thoughts on RTX? That kind of plays back into our defense conversation that we just had a while ago, or I guess recently, earlier today. RTX, this one's a good one. I think this one also, one of the names that you can kind of look at here for a potential buy. I think RTX also might come in a little bit more, like 170-ish.
Rotation, heavy sector rotation today, utilities. Well, I mean, utilities kind of make a little bit of sense there, especially with the demand for compute.
13, look at this. The circle is now complete when it comes to stocks.
What's that?
We've got a guy in here trying to pump Portillo's. after everything. After everything.
Well, I think this is where you're going to want to answer that, because I don't have the experience with Portillo's that you do.
I mean, they're definitely trying to turn that around. The old management team that just, the old management team, what a joke that CEO is. I don't know how he ever gets a CEO job again. It's one of the worst performances I've ever seen. Anyway, I can tell you, at least from one of the things I was bullish on is the store expansion. I don't know how fast that's going anymore. I stopped going there for food just because I was so pissed at them as a company. I can get Italian beef elsewhere here in Chicago, so I do. And I don't support them anymore. It was just a colossal undoing of a great Chicago-based company. So can they put the pieces back together? Yeah, maybe I'll catch some of it. But I have no interest in owning that company anymore. There's way better opportunities out there. Sorry, I'm salty on Portillo's.
Now, is Portillo's salty too?
Yeah, definitely. High sodium, definitely.
Had to.
Totally get it.
Eric would like to look at COPX. Joe Schmo also mentioned that Microsoft's approaching the psych level $400 level.
And ACAN hit 40.
Oh, nice. ACAN has been a nice climber. I think pretty much the majority of the week, right? If not all week.
Yeah, this has been hot. Really, since the whole cannabis headline that we got that popped the whole sector, this one's kept going. This has been the best trade of the group.
So COPX is a copper miner ETF. This thing looks like it's just gearing up for the next move higher, the next move that's going to take it through 100. We'd love to know from Lion what he thinks about this too, because I know he's big on copper, and I've been, I think I was one of the earlier ones just talking about watch copper before Trump made his State of the Union when he was first elected, because as soon as he said that, the copper plays were on. But this looks like this is, coming off of it came off the accelerated move up to 100, found support down around, 70, 75. I think this is going to make another move up to over 100 at some point in the coming months. That's what I'll be looking for.
Replay Game Lab. I just quit blazing. The cannabis industry is going to crash.
Well, I know you've been buying copper nonstop, Line. I'm just asking about COPX. We know. You're here every day. You've told us a lot. You told me and Ryan lots of times. We know. Yeah,
COPX not one of the ones that he's holding.
FCX is the one that I like too. That's my favorite. Lithium America is finding support. Moved back through VWAP. This might try another attempt at 550 here. Fatten just was not the one today, and we did have a bit of a double top in the pre-market, so we are down almost to this 200 EMA. That might be support, but I don't know how great that this is going to trade if it does get support there. Meanwhile, MRAM
still holding 18.
It's just kind of gone sideways here. It's compressed and gone sideways.
I tell you what, that initial scalp was the play. Did not quite get to the trend line, and although it went higher than where I ended up selling it, not pissed about it.
Seems like Xerox probably might have been the best one from the movers list following that drop. I mean, if you picked it up when it crashed through that 65 EMA, you're doing pretty good today.
Ondas day highs. All right, needs that after yesterday. 980 is the spot, Zach. 980. Get us a close over 980 on Ondas. I gotta bring Eric back on the show here. I really want one of those vests, guys. That black Ondas vest. I want one so bad. I mean, I want to bring Eric back on here to talk about the business, but I also want the vest. Lion, take care. Taking a nap at 10:30. Yeah. You have a great life if you are able to do that, my man.
He's probably up early. See you tomorrow, Lion. Asked about Hertz. We looked at Hertz earlier. Good volume day, but there's a trend line that I'd like to see cleared on a monthly if we're gonna push higher. I started with the December 2023 high, drew it through the April 2025 high, and we just tested that same trend line this month. That's the trend line I want to get through.
Okay, 13. I was trying to go to it, but the thing's hanging. We're out of time here. Okay. Any closing words for the group here today, 13?
Well, I think that we could see a little bit of a move up tomorrow morning. We are at the end of the month, so we could see some window dressing as as firms doctor up their reports. So we'll see if we get a little bit of a lift tomorrow. But I think as we're going into May, we're going to see some more selling pressure. So let's prepare ourselves accordingly. It's a nice little day here we had. Let's come back tomorrow. We'll do the same thing, and we'll make some more money. Folks, take care. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. Goodbye.
All right. 13, take care. Good stuff as always. Folks, we are out of time here for today, but we will wrap up the week tomorrow. Good luck if you play Apple or SanDisk or any other earnings here tonight. This is the wrap up of a rather big week. Good job from everyone out here. We always appreciate the support for 13 and producer. I'm Ryan. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you.